This video is going to have a much different presentation than what you're usually accustomed to on this channel. Okay, I'm going to try to do this live to tape, so as it's coming out of my mouth is exactly how it's going to be going up, okay? Because realistically, this is going to be a long one. It's going to at least be 1 hour, 13 minutes, because that's as long as the video itself is. So, and then of course I want to add a couple of little commentary pieces over the top of it. Obviously, I just want to walk you down the path that I've been thinking about and ruminating on these ideas over the past about 24 hours now at this point, and how many people whose opinions that I appreciate and like on most things, they've just missed the mark so horribly on this. And it just goes to show you, when you talk out against what is at the bottom, what is at the core of the problems of society, people that are still within the matrix, as it were, people who are still in their old school conditioning, their old order beliefs, they're going to defend that to their dying breath. They don't want to have to rethink their entire purview of the world. Sure, they're going to have a couple of differing opinions when it comes to certain things, but the left, the right, the center, the top, the bottom, all basically have the same idea when it comes to this stuff. Women and children most affected. And when you try to upset that apple cart in any form or fashion, you get removed from society, just like Andrew Tate has, at least digital society. Obviously, him and his brother are still going to have wonderful lives outside of this, okay? But you take a look at this, and this is basically, okay, like I said before, I'm a big fan of old school Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin, as he's known now on this podcast, but he had one of these brain-dead takes that are out there. I already knew when I seen the video when it was going to be coming up what his interpretation of events was going to be. This is bad because cancel culture is bad, and oh, look at how woke the left has become. Yeah. But he even gets it wrong when it comes to who Andrew Tate is. So I'm just going to play, I think it's like 20 seconds or something like that. So we'll just go ahead and let him say it, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of clips and a little bit of reading in this. So just give me 1 second.
So the Eye of Sauron has found a new victim, and it's someone called Andrew Tate. Now, I have to be honest, I didn't really know who Andrew Tate was before this.
You can already see the disgust on his face. Like, I like Carl, okay? I like his compatriot on the other side there, Callum. They're both really smart guys and they have good takes on things. But, you know, hey, you can just go ahead and listen to the way that Carl comes across Andrew Tate and, you know, just kind of deduce with your own opinion on the situation.
And I'd seen like the odd clip of him talking in his kind of weird half British accent.
Denigration, but shaming language right there. Oh, his half British accent. Yes, because you have the weird and all over UK accent. Again, you guys don't have too dissimilar of life, but you watched a few clips, you got an opinion on it. A few clips, huh? It's almost like that's how Andrew found himself in this situation, having things that he said taken out of context and then having it elaborated on by the activist left. Something, you know what? Hey, it was really funny when this exact same type of scenario was happening at the exact same time. This was before I was really aware of the podcast, but Fresh and Fit, right? They were on Flagrant 2 podcast, and they're racists because, they said they were making a joke that they don't like to dabble in the dark, so they don't like to really hook up with black chicks, okay? And then literally, 2 weeks later, Joe Rogan stuff with the N-bomb tape ends up coming out, and all of those same podcasts that were denigrating Fresh and Fit for, they're racists for their takes. Meanwhile, we're just licking the boots of Joe Rogan. It's funny. It's funny, right? Who people will line up behind, Joe Rogan, he's got this huge platform. We need to stand up for free speech when it comes to that. But yet, when it was Fresh and Fit, they're just a bunch of grifters, and they just yell at women. Most of these people don't even know that they have a very good podcast during the week. Well, Myron's really good and Fresh just hangs out. But anyways, I'll just let Carl continue to dig himself his, his position on this one. Like I said, I'm a fan, but this is just brain dead take.
And people had said, you should talk to Andrew Tate. And I remember like looking at these clips and being like, I don't really want to. I'm not really interested in Andrew Tate's take on anything. I don't think he's particularly deep or wise or, anything else that I could say is a virtue. And so it's like, okay, well, and so I just didn't care. And so I just ignored it.
I can let the rest of this play out, or you guys can watch it on your own free time. Obviously, I'm going to link to it in the bottom in the description there. But that's the problem. I watched a couple of clips, okay, and then I just decided he doesn't have anything wise or insightful to say about anything. You couldn't be more wrong. Like, Andrew Tate is incredibly articulate. He's an incredibly deep thinker. You just see the things like, oh, women are property, and then a hard cut directly after that, and then it just goes off into something else that he said, and you can just, just fucking super glue all of his different takes together. Okay, sure. Or you can be like Jason Whitlock, okay? A guy who I really appreciate, okay? And he wrote this big, long article that Dave Portnoy, who again is a turbo cuck, by the way, and he's picking a fight with a comedian right now and looking really stupid, mostly for the fact that Dave Portnoy is very much pro-choice, okay, and now that's just clouding everything that he's doing, and everybody in the tradcon sphere are taking shots at him, and yeah, justifiably so. But then he lumps Andrew Tate into this because he's the most popular person on earth right now, okay? Andrew's, in his final message that we're going to take a look at here in a little bit, breaks down all of the numbers that really backs up his claims that, yeah, no, he's the most searched individual of all time. I don't know. Sorry, I just seen something funny outside. Anyways, we're doing it live, like I said here. We could go over the Portnoy stuff, but I'd rather do that in a different video, okay? But I just want to get to the Tate stuff because, again, if you go back and you've been watching my content for a while, I've given big ups to Jason Whitlock. I think he's a terrific sports writer, okay? I don't know why he's over at the TradCon Blaze. I know that he had a falling out with Clay Travis, who runs Outkick. They started Outkick together. They were deeply affiliated during the creation of Outkick, which is a really good outlet when it comes to sports, but they're starting to get a little bit more diversified in things, so hey, best of luck to them. But I don't know, man, his take on this is, well, it's just wrong. Like, again, like I said, I like Carl, but he got everything completely wrong about Tate. I watched a couple of clips and he's not deep about anything. And then you have Whitlock's take on this. Tate is a former contestant on TV show Big Brother, the UK version of Big Brother from like 2016 he was on. And if you think that that's his biggest accomplishment, I don't know what to tell you. He started something called Hustlers University on TikTok. Again, just, it's wrong. Like, I can't say that he's incorrect with that take. He's just flat out wrong. Like, he's got the facts wrong. Hustlers University is a platform. I'll just pull it up here because why not, right? Well, we're doing it live. Cobra, Tate. Oh, Tate.com. Because, yeah, we can just go right to the Hustlers University page, okay? Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, Hustlers University 2, obviously. Is this on TikTok? Oh, Hustlers University 3 is already launching. Great. As you can see, yeah, okay, best platform ever for high-income skill development. Got even better. $50 a month will enroll you. You can learn from a bunch of different people about a whole host of different things as well. First, the business professors will immediately get you started with online business model of your choice. All of that stuff as well. Then your income goes beyond 10,000 threshold, ongoing guidance, all of that stuff. Does this just look like a simple TikTok account? Yeah, there's all the receipts of the people who are actually making money on the platform. But again, no. You just take your standard platform that's out there, okay? He created Hustlers University on TikTok, posting relationship and life advice to young men. Where is that on there? Am I missing that part? Do I need money to start? How quickly am I making money? Does my age matter? Where's the dating part of this? I don't really know about that. How does HU3 work? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I have no idea about any of that stuff. But again, it's just about relationship and life advice to young men. Young men, I've seen an entire swath of people that were on there, but no. Again, just like mass media, when we were talking about the situation on Monday, it's just majority of them are just young, impressionable men, okay? That's just what you need to be concerned about. Unfucking believable. Anyways, he's the pornographic version of Kevin Samuels. Boy, can you fucking believe this? Like, Kevin Samuels, okay? Like, I didn't watch his content. I knew who he was, okay? And when he passed in May, it was a big it was a big loss that was created in this community. And what he was doing, what Kevin Samuels was doing, was very important and something only a very visibly black guy could get away with. Because again, if you know anything about Andrew Tate, he's, I think the way that the mathematics work out, he's about a third black because his father was half black and his mother is white Irish. We're going to see a picture of the family here in the final video as well. I've watched it over once, not with a fine-tooth comb. We'll be doing that here in a moment, but Kevin Samuels was basically reality checking 30 plus post-wall women, okay, giving them a dose of reality. He's a pornographic version of Kevin Samuels. I don't even know what to do with that. Is that just because mostly everybody's seen the clips of him just speaking into his kind of silver microphone without a shirt on? Like, is that the deep take we get from somebody who's normally waxes philosophically on sports topics? Like, unfucking believable, dude. Masculinity is like air and water. No, it's not. Air and water are respected. Masculinity has been denigrated for generations. We need it for survival. Then why has society at large for the past 1, 2, 3 generations at this point, I think we're approaching the 3rd generation, continue to raise men as defective women? Just go ahead and clarify that for me, okay? We need it for survival. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? No. It's just easier to dunk on Portnoy and dunk on Tate without knowing the entire situation at large. The world was built by male energy. Thank God Jesus was masculine. Again, just, fucking take the God pill, right? Just give yourself up to Jesus. Just these people fucking make me sick. Thank God men were willing to die in the Revolutionary War. All of the wars. Just say all of the wars, okay? Sure, there were some women that helped out, and we needed some pots and pans rattled. It's a joke. It's a joke. But honestly, women are important to all of this stuff, but men fight the wars. Again, these are just simple, basic fucking takes, okay? But again, God, it's laborious. It's laborious. The demonization of masculinity. Oh no, I thought it was as essential as air and water. Oh, we need it for survival. The demonization of masculinity has caused a shortage and inflated the value of it. And the shortage has created a market for imposters and moonshiners. Oh, okay, cool. I could just go ahead and fucking go through all of this stuff, because then he just blames everybody else. The first wave of this prohibition primarily damaged black men. Yes, minorities and women most affected, particularly black men of faith. Oh, the first wave spawned. Oh, this is the denigration of masculinity, apparently. Al Sharpton, the Milli Vanilli of civil rights. Oh, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. Not an incorrect interpretation of events, okay, but look at the people that Jason Whitlock are trying to wrap into comparisons. Portnoy and Tate with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. I don't know a lot about the Dave Portnoy backstory. All I know is that, he created Barstool Sports. And once we do that separate video, I'll elaborate on those situations a little bit more fully. But as it is right now, okay, I don't really know if that's an apt description. But then again, neither does Whitlock, because it really doesn't look like, at least for the Tate part of this, didn't really do his fucking homework. They pretend to be fearless freedom fighters while doing the bidding of feminists, Democrats, and the LGBT crowd. Yeah, exactly. Kind of what you're doing right now by tearing down one guy who is actually very good for masculinity. But you go ahead, you do your thing, right? In the second wave of prohibition popularized gangster rappers. Oh, Tupac Shakur. Oh, right, the guy who went to the Performing School of Arts in New York. Oh, okay, cool. Snoop Dogg, a legitimate gangster. He's never been charged with a felony, though. Oh no, he's never been convicted of a felony. He might have been charged. Jay-Z. Jay-Z's a pretty good example of being awfully masculine, okay? Getting up off the streets and, bagging the baddest bitch on the planet and then still cheating on her. Yeah, no, exactly. And NWA pretend to speak the truth, the power, while promoting degeneracy. Oh my God, these moralistic arguments make me fucking sick. It's no worse and it's no better than a woman who would just go and say, well, he's a good man for me, but our star signs don't line up, okay? When you use the shaming language, it doesn't fucking further anything. You're not addressing the root problem when it comes to this stuff. Oh, it's just degenerate criminality, drug use, materialism, and hedonism. The third wave has brought us Portnoy and Tate. Internet bullies. Like I said, I've seen the shots that Portnoy has taken at a fucking comedian not understanding the joke because he's wrapped up ideologically, but, oh, okay, cool. But as for Tate, I don't really know, man. He's helped some young kids on Twitch. I forget, what's his name? Clicks or something like that. Really set him straight when it comes to, okay, cool. I've never had a girlfriend. I've never kissed a girl, anything like that. What do I need to do? And then he just lays it out. You need to engage in something that's difficult. You need to engage in some struggle. Go down to a boxing gym. Learn how to fight. Learn how to stand up for yourself. Clearly, yeah, tell him to be a bully. Tell him to go beat people in the street. Unfucking believable. So stupid. Posing as masculine man. Yes, Tate poses as a masculine man at 6'2", a 4-time world kickboxing champion. Why didn't Whitlock lead with that 4-time world kickboxing champion? Did he even know that Andrew Tate fucking dog walked Portnoy on his very own podcast? Did he even know that it came out? No. He just had an idea for an article and he wanted to write that. Their success has spawned imitators. The iterations will be worse. Oh, right. Oh, the iterations of Tate, you know, his contemporaries that are out there, like I've previously mentioned, Fresh and Fit. Okay, like I said, big supporter. I really appreciate the content that they have out there. Rollo Tomasi, okay, another guy, all of his works, The Rational Male. I'm reading through Positive Masculinity right now, the third book. The first two are essential readings, okay? If you have the opportunity to read them, I recommend them fully. John, Modern Life Dating, a great success and dating coach. That's the way that he likes to brand himself, okay? But he is also quite an accomplished kingmaker that's out there, okay? A lot of people have gone through his programs. A lot of people have succeeded by listening and following his support network. Obviously, okay? These are just posers that are out there because there's clearly better issues, or I'm sorry, better interpretations of masculinity, like Jason Whitlock, who's clearly in shape, clearly gets his facts right before writing these slam pieces. So, you know what? Hey, man, if they think that Tate is the problem with the world, okay, they offer a better solution to these problems. I don't even know why we should even bother watching this Tate's final message that's out there, okay? A little bit of foreshadowing on this, okay? This is not the Andrew Tate that you've probably seen in the clips out there, if you have watched any of the clips, okay? This is a much more measured approach. He doesn't have his trademark glasses on, okay? He's got a little bit of I think it's a cardigan over a black t-shirt, okay? He's incredibly articulate. This is going to be a long one. I don't know how much commentary I'm going to be adding over the top of it. Like I said, I've watched through this once, not with a fine-tooth comb, not really taking any notes, but it's not going to be anything like the other Amber Heard breakdown that took a little over 2 hours to do because I was breaking down every single line. Tate does his own work when it comes to this stuff. So without further ado, let's try and add anything on top of this because it's really well done. I'll just go ahead and say that.
I was thinking for a long time how to start this video because it needs to be concise and compendious, but I also want it to be very, very comprehensive. And I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. There's been many different versions of my life story, which have been put on the internet as of late and from many years ago. But I'm going to give a very, very quick overview of my story. My life has always been difficult. I've certainly had a difficult life. I preach to the people who follow me that as a man, trauma and difficulty is extremely important because it's the building blocks for mental fortitude and physical fortitude. So I'm very, very happy that my...
No, I thought you preached about being a fake alpha, right? Because that's always the label that's out there as well. Oh, all of these guys who talk about masculine, they just talk about banging chicks and their supercars, these self-professed alpha male. The guys that I mentioned before, the guys that I appreciate and the content that I consume, okay, they never consider themselves alpha male. That's always one of the initial red flags of somebody who's just a straight up hater. And I can also tell you a little bit of the background on this. This was clearly filmed just over the weekend, okay, because you can see he still has his YouTube account in the background, okay, and that's since been gone as of Monday as well. So the only thing that he's really talking about specifically of being banned on is just kind of Instagram and Facebook, okay? He'll break that down. I just wanted to give a little bit of a background where his mind space is when it comes to this one, because a lot of people want to think, and I've seen some of the response to some of this, okay, and they're saying that, oh man, he really came weak on this one, and oh, this is just a really bad apology video. It's like, there's no apology in here at all. This is a thorough explanation, a thorough breakdown of events, and it's quite possibly, it should be the blueprint for anybody else who's out there who's thinking of doing an apology video for something that they've done wrong. No, Tate has been banned off of every big tech platform. And what does he do? Takes responsibility and he vows to improve. It's something that, you know what, hey, if anybody in mass media, the periphery, the alt media, alt journalism that's out there, if they were doing their due diligence, they'd sit down and they'd watch this, but they won't, because it's easier to just hate on Tate, okay? Hate generates clicks, and instead of improving on something, no, just tear down the guy who has the bald head and really fancy sunglasses and the Bugatti, because sound bites is what makes the world go round, right? Not factual truth.
Life has been difficult because it's impossible to become a capable man or a man of my capability without struggling with facing serious adversities, without trying to overcome often insurmountable odds. I grew up in South Side of Chicago. I'm obviously a person of color. I was bullied in school to a degree, and my father always taught me to stick up for myself. I was never allowed to run and cry to authority. I was told that if someone wants to mess with you or come at you, you can't always go tell the teacher. Sometimes you have to deal with it. I was actually picked on by these two kids when I was riding the school bus home. I think I was around 5 and they were around 7. They were a bit older than me, and they used to pick on me on the school bus. They'd sit behind me, throw things at me, hit me, etc. And I came home and I told my dad about it. I said, Dad, these 2 kids are picking on me every single time I get the school bus. I don't know what to do. And my dad said, I'm not going to call the teacher because the teacher ain't on the bus. And I'm not going to call the school bus driver because they're busy driving. Son, if you want to deal with this, you're going to have to deal with it yourself.
Funny thing about that, okay, I have a similar story. Like I said, I'm gonna try to not pause this so much, mostly because I don't want this to be a 9-hour long video. But I got a very similar story. I only took the school bus for a couple of times, and yeah, got into a fight because somebody might have called my sibling a bitch, and I didn't really take that all too well. And long and short of it is, I just walked halfway across the city home from school every day because you can't really get away with fighting on the school bus. So stick up for yourself, mostly because nobody else is going to. And again, very misogynistic takes that he has there, even though we're only 2 minutes in.
And I said, but Dad, they're bigger than me. What do you want me to do? There's 2 of them and they're bigger than me. And at the time, I'd just come home from school and I was holding a lunchbox. And my dad pointed and said, you have a lunchbox, son? Teach them. So weeks had passed. It was a few weeks. They kept picking on me, and I felt myself sitting there getting more insecure, and the rage was boiling inside of me. And one day, one of them slapped me in the side of the face from behind. I was sitting on the chair. He slapped me in the face from behind. And instantly, I don't know what it was, but this was the day I had enough, and I turned with my lunchbox and swung it over the back of the school bus chair and caught him and busted his eye clean open. The plastic Batman lunchbox hit him.
Shout out to the production value. Okay, and that sweet TV that's in the background. Like, that's got to be like an 85, 90-inch TV as well. And the little sound effects that are underneath that just really punctuate the story. Like, this is foundational because it's just, once again, just setting up the fact that he takes responsibility for his own actions. He's in control of his life at all times.
Him in the eye, and blood started squirting everywhere. All the children started screaming. And as I did this, the bus had just come up to a stop. It was a few stops before my stop, but it had stopped. And as the bus stopped and the screaming happened, I just got up and I ran off the bus and ran home. I've never run so fast or so far in my life. I was full of adrenaline. I just ran. When I got home, I had blood on my clothes, and my dad looked at me. He said, "What happened?" And I said, "That kid," I won't say his name. I said his name at the time. I said, "That kid, he hit me in the face, and I had enough of getting hit in the face." And I was still holding the lunchbox, but it was all smashed up where I'd hit him with it. And my dad kind of smiled a little bit and said, "Don't worry, son. Get in the car." We got in the car and we went to Walmart. We walked up and down the aisle, and he looked and picked up another lunchbox, an exact replica of the same blue Batman lunchbox, gave it to me and said, "I'll buy you as many of these as you need." And that was the last we spoke of it. Funnily enough, I never saw that kid again. I don't know if he changed schools. I don't know what his parents did, but I never saw that child again. So even from a very, very young age, I was taught that going to authority and crying and hoping someone else is going to fix your problems is not the way a man should conduct himself. When I left Chicago, I moved to Luton, England, which was multiple times voted the worst town in England. It's a high crime rate. It's a very bad area. My mother and father broke up, so I was in a single mother household. And now I'm a person of color in a single mother household. I'm also the only American at the time in Luton. And I had, again, repeat problems in school. I was picked on for being the only American. I was picked on for not knowing things I should have known because I hadn't been through the English educational system. I'd been through the American educational system.
And imagine some people out there thinking that they have it so rough when they're in a first world country. They have everything given to them. They come from a middle class, okay, or even an upper class upbringing, and they still have excuses for themselves. Listen to his story. He's telling you he moved to the UK. He's still the same language, obviously, but really the worst part of England, okay? The worst part of the UK, voted multiple times over. It is still, by the people in the UK, revered for its, just outright criminality. We'll just put it at that. And he had every excuse in the book to fail. And he's got how many millions of dollars, and what color's your Bugatti?
And I had trouble in school again, but I stuck up for myself. Unfortunately, nothing got violent at any point. But when people made fun of me, I stood up and said, "Listen, don't make fun of me. I'm from a different place, and I talk differently." And I always understood that standing up for yourself, I never went to the teacher, I never cried to anybody else. I just stood up for myself. And over time, people learned respect for me and my boundaries, and they were very respectful of me. And I had a very positive experience from then on out in school by simply standing up for myself, because this is how I was taught to act. In high school, I ended up having a reputation of a guy that nobody really messed with. I certainly wasn't a bully, absolutely the opposite, but no one really picked on me. I actually had a friend in school who was gay. I had 5 main friends in school, and I was also friends with a gay guy. And he would make fun of me for being American, and I would make fun of him for being gay back then. But the world was a very, very different place. This is many, many years ago.
Imagine that, having having friends of different backgrounds, and you guys could get along by just ribbing one another. Yeah, that's an era that's, well, frankly, at least from my interpretation of events that are out there, what gets reported, and that era is a long ways gone. Like me growing up, I was always friends with the native kids, okay? I was friends with the potheads, okay? And we would rib one another, okay? Because I was a fat boy back in school, okay? And I would constantly get picked on because, yeah, from about 5th grade onwards, I was about 6 feet tall, and I would fluctuate in weight all the way, I was always constantly about yay big the entire time. And like I've said before, topped out in on or around 4 bills, okay? And then being as tall as I am in high school, yeah, obvious targets for being picked on, okay? It was different when, hey, here's one thing that I probably haven't said before, but bears repeating at this point, okay? Like I was walking home with, I'll just say it, my sister, okay? Like from the school. We didn't live that far away from the school at the time, and then a couple of the kids in an older grade or whatever, they would, we were just walking, going one direction, and then the pack of the kids would were walking back towards the school in the other direction, and they were yelling at me or just trying to cause some trouble and some shit like that. And yeah, I wasn't really just all that interested in picking a fight with a group of about 5 kids, okay, at the time. And yeah, they were just yelling at me and just yelled, "Oh yeah, what are you, some kind of rapist or something?" with that young kid. kid, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, that's great. Yeah, that's great. And then eventually, yeah, you just had to fight one of them, okay? So you got to take fucking responsibility into your own hands, okay? But whatever.
And we had friendly banter back and forth, but we were very good friends. And I stuck up for him and prevented anyone else picking on him all of the time. And the banter between us, the locker room talk, which would be considered absolutely unacceptable today, at the time was very, very normal. And we had a great time. We were good friends. And I heard from him, actually, after this ban. And he said, you should mention the fact that the things they say about you completely aren't true. And this leads me on to the reason I believe these narratives have managed to gain such a foothold in popular consciousness. Due to the fact I've managed to develop an iron mind, because I'm probably the only individual on earth who can be vilified to this level without taking personal insult and without being emotionally affected, what I've done is I've allowed certain narratives to gain traction, which I shouldn't have allowed to gain traction, because they didn't personally bother me, because I know they are false. I live with a very, very pure heart. I'm a religious man. I go to church, and anyone who follows me in detail knows I donate huge sums of money to the church. And as long as I knew the truth of my heart and God knew the truth of my heart, I wasn't interested in lies being purported. I now understand that that's wrong, because even though I've done nothing wrong, even though it doesn't emotionally affect me, even though God and myself know my innocence, the public consciousness has been polluted to a point where narratives are being purported which are absolutely and utterly false. And it's having a genuine negative impact on the people who I care about and the people who care about me. And despite the fact it doesn't emotionally affect me, as a man, I have a duty to protect all of those I love. And
I want anybody who's watching this to take note, okay? Instead of blaming everybody else, how he puts everything that's happened to him on himself. Talked about this a multitude of times as well, okay? Everything that is wrong in your life is your fault, even if you're not directly responsible for it. The way that you respond to these issues is your fault, okay? So it's always, at the end of the day, if you put something under your control, you at least have a say in what the outcome of it's going to be. Would you rather have that, or would you just rather consider yourself a passenger in the vehicle along the highway that is your life? I, for one, I'm going to take responsibility of everything that I possibly can at all times.
And for this reason, these narratives have started to become very, very harmful. I was under understanding that on the internet, people don't like you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you say. There's going to be some people who don't like you, and the people who don't like you are not interested in the truth. What they are interested in is finding some lie that they can latch onto and accelerating that lie on as much as possible via their platforms to try and paint a negative picture of you because they don't like you. A lot of these attacks against me are disguised under the virtue of caring about women. But none of these people who are attacking me care about women. None of them donate to women's charities. None of them donate to charity like I do. None of them help anybody like I do.
I would argue that most of the people that are attacking him, Hassan, Ethan Klein, okay, they have a visceral hatred of women. They're the ones who actually have the lower opinion of women that, oh, they just need to be coddled, they just need to be protected. They can't hear these divisive ideas that he's saying because, oh, Andrew Tate's a woman beater. He's going to go ahead and dispel all of those allegations. But that would be my claim on this one, okay? The people who are throwing stones right now, yeah. They live in a house that is held together by the tears of the women that they've affected. It's the meme as old as time, right? The male feminist who ends up one day taking advantage of a weak woman in a tough situation, okay? Guard your drinks around male feminists. Just saying.
About to show later on in this video proof of the massive work I do for helping people. They don't help anybody. All they do is just attack me and use fake virtue, the fact they pretend to care, as a reason to attack somebody who they personally don't like. And it's very, very different to actually care about an issue or weaponize an issue and pretend to care to try and damage someone else's life. These are very, very different things. And this is the reason why I have not tried to dispel these myths as hard as I could have, because I understood that these people are always going to hate me and they're always going to lie about me, no matter what I say or do. But considering in light of the final ban, and considering I have the public consciousness, I think it's extremely important that for myself and for my family and for people I care about, that I tell the truth and I make the truth known to the world, because that is the only intention in my video, is to sit and tell the truth. And the fact that I'm a very, very iron-minded individual who is not negatively affected by these smear campaigns is not reason enough for me not to sit, take time, and dispel all the negative things which are said about me. I am fully aware that not everybody is going to agree with what I say. I don't think there's a person on the planet you can find who has a 100% approval rate. There's always going to be somebody who disagrees with what you say.
And that's also not to say that you have to agree completely with anybody that you appreciate their takes on. Like I showed with the other guys to begin with, completely incidentally, I appreciate Jason Whitlock's takes on what goes on in sports, okay? I appreciate what Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad has to say when it comes to politics, but at the end of the day, they're wrong when it comes to Tate, okay? Because I've watched the guy's content, I know what he has to say, I know his intentions, and I know the message that he's putting out there, because I take the time to do my research. Them, on the other hand, they have their own agendas to push, okay? Nothing terribly wrong with them not doing the right amount of work when it comes to this stuff. It's just, if you're going to be putting out that information, it's detrimental. You might not mean it to be, but you're not doing a full enough research or full enough analysis on these topics. And you have people who aren't like I am, okay? People who are just going to take your opinion on something and they're just going to run with it. They're going to think that it's the gospel and act as such, okay? And that's how those narratives continue to perpetuate. Because you don't see zero pro-Tate articles that are out there. You'll see a couple of people come around saying that, no, I've met Tate personally and he's a really good guy, or I've listened to his content and there's nothing, objectionable about what he says. You just listen to a clip and then you form an opinion on him, or you just look at a stupid Instagram post or some fat ass on YouTube, okay, and then he'll just react to a bunch of TikToks and say, oh, you need to ban this guy, some fucking fat-headed UK cocksucker. Anyways, you have all of those people that are out there who just watch and consume these little bite-sized clips and never do their own research, and that's how this shit spins out of control. And anyways, back to Tate.
If I said the earth was round, there would be a contingent of individuals on the planet who disagree with me. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. I have no problem with being seen as controversial for some of the things I've said. However, I do have two significant problems I would like to address. The first is I do not like absolute and utter lies being told about me. I do not like having long-form video of me cut up, elements taken out of context, the tonality of the joke removed, and purporting an image of me that is not true. That's something I do not like.
That's why I wanted to cover this entire video in its totality, in its original form, okay? Because that's very important. Most people whose interpretation of Tate, anybody who's said, well, I've just seen the clips, you've never seen the long form content. And okay, yeah, some of the interviews are about 3 hours long. Some of the streams are about 3-4 hours long. But my favorite Tate interview, at least from this recent round of fame, I think it's called CEO Cast, okay? It's from a British kid, okay? It's just him and Tate. It looks like it's in his back garden. It's just a fence and a couple of microphones. It's an incredibly in-depth, a very incredibly in-depth interview when it comes to money, fame, relationships. It's really good. It has 1 million views. Nobody talks about it. They're all just going to go back to the XQC debate, okay, or some of the Aiden Ross streams that are out there and just, form their own opinions of what's out there, or just cut up a couple of clips from the grilling episode, what was that, the virtual date with Cheyenne Reynolds or whatever, where Tate was at his most flamboyant, even though, you just conveniently, even if you bothered to watch that 1.5 hour long video, yeah, you don't mention the little cutaways that are in there where Tate is obviously saying that, yeah, I'm just kind of playing with my food at this point. I'm just raising the temperature in the room. I'm being a little louder. I'm being a little bit more flamboyant with my speech in order to elicit an emotional response. He says that directly there, but people conveniently forget that and just say, oh, he just wants women's body counts to be tattooed on their foreheads. Unfucking believable.
I do not like false accusations of criminal activity. That's another thing that I really do not like. I am totally aware that not everybody is going to like me. I have no problems with that. I think anyone who decides to get big on the internet needs to be very, very prepared for a contingent of people to not be happy with what they say. I could make a YouTube channel dedicated to the fact that I believe the world is round, and there would be a large or semi-large proportion of people who would disagree with me. I don't think there's a single creator online that has a 100% approval rate. I have a lot of people who love what I say. I have a lot of fans. A lot of people are dedicated to my channel, and I have a lot of positivity online.
Like, even just think of the most well-loved YouTuber that's out there. Like PewDiePie, the biggest YouTuber. Well, I guess whatever it is, T-Series now at this point. Like, PewDiePie, that was a couple of years ago when he was really popping off. Yeah, he had the obvious detractors. He had all of the hit pieces that were out there. The most likable YouTuber, at least the biggest one that comes to mind, Mr. Beast. People still think that he's a scam or he's just in with, Susan who runs YouTube, okay? They'll always be hating from outside the club, but that dude does a lot of really good shit, okay? Well, I'm not subscribed and I don't watch a hell of a lot of the content. He still does good stuff, engaging stuff, and he's successful for a reason, okay? Nobody's going to like everything that everybody says. That's not the point, okay? You can agree with somebody on certain things, and you know what? Hey, if you trust their interpretation of events, you could further that extrapolation out, maybe have a good faith argument or have a good faith interpretation that their understanding of different events that are out there, you guys might be in alignment with a few more things than you really think about if you just open your mind for a second. Like, just don't get immediately turned off by the first thing that ends up getting in your feelings when it comes to certain issues.
And I have a small contingent of people who are very, very offended by what I say. We often talk about, in the modern world, the inclusivity of different cultures, different ways of life, different sexual orientations, and how we need to be tolerant and understanding of all these different people's life paths, and by extension, their different ways of viewing the world. I'm a unique individual, as is everybody else, and I have a unique life path that has led me to unique points of view. I think that all of the people who disagree with me are very, very welcome to disagree with me because they have had a unique life path and a different point of view, and I respect that, absolutely. I would never shout for any of the people who disagree with anything I say to be silenced or canceled, because I don't think that helps the world. I think that discourse is always going to be the way that we lead ourselves to the truth. And if anybody has anything contrary to say about any of my points of view, I welcome it. I like to hear it. And as long as it's in a respectful and adult manner, I often platform it on my platforms as much as possible so I can sit and discuss and I can learn things. Because
no, that's incredibly true, and you're never going to get that good faith from the other side. Like, okay, I'll just throw that out there. If Ethan Klein or Hassan ended up getting canceled one day, I'm not going to celebrate it. I'm not really going to call for them to be resuscitated from, the grave on whatever platform they get canceled off of. I'll just say that it's a bad thing, but yeah, no, I'm not going to celebrate it, nor am I going to call for it, okay? It's like the only way to expose bad ideas is by letting the person who's espousing those bad ideas say them, to just show to the world how bad they are. But again, when it comes to saying that Tate is just this, fake interpretation of masculinity, did you point to anything there, Whitlock? Okay, did you just watch a couple of clips, Carl, and think that, he's got nothing deep or insightful to say? We are only a couple of minutes into this, okay, and boy, it's going to be a long one because I can see how long the video itself is as opposed to the video responding to it is, and I don't know, man. I'm totally enthralled when it comes to this stuff, okay? And again, his enunciation, his ability to convey the message is on point. No ums, no uhs, no stutters, no gaps in his ability to talk. It's really something that should be modeled that's out there. But again, he's fake alpha. He's just parading his not his interpretation of masculinity, but his brand TM because he's trying to start some program on TikTok or something like that. I can't believe that was actually written down.
Because if I have a point of view and someone challenges it in a very adult, correct, logical way, very often I have changed my point of view. And this has been really, really good for me as a person to grow and for the audience to grow. And I know I've changed many other people's minds when they've come to debate with me. And this is the beauty of being human. So I have no problem with being disliked. I do have a problem with a few things. I have a problem with long format things I've said being taken out of context, taking a small clip from a 2-hour piece of video, then with careful editing, removing of tonality, and changing my intention behind the words, painting me to be a criminal or a bad person when I am not. I do have a problem with false criminal accusations when I do not have a criminal record. And
just want to speak on the taking long form comments or long form content and snipping it out. Seen this happen with Jordan Peterson back before he went to rehab, which is, you know what, hey man, that was completely his decision and he's been totally fine since he's come back, and it's like nothing wrong with that at all. But that's the reason why he went from doing pre-recorded interviews, okay, because I think it was Vice or something like that clipped something up, and the interview itself was completely different than when he did the interview by putting it through the editing process. That's why he just strictly does things live to tape, okay? Even his own podcast, he tapes it. There's no cuts in it at all whatsoever, so that there's no gaps or there's no gaffes that end up happening. Imagine me gaffing on saying the word gaff, but even still, okay? So he just removes that element from happening, and maybe, well, now we're seeing that with Tate right now, but even still with the TikTok that's out there, and TikTok back when Jordan Peterson was initially popping off, when he was still doing those other, not scripted interviews, but edited up little soundbite interviews where he couldn't extrapolate on his ideas, which is exactly what Tate is doing as well. Whenever he speaks on a subject, he just get chopped up by TikTok without him even knowing on it. But he's going to mention that a little bit later in the video. But we've seen it happen with Peterson. Seen it happen with Trump as well, okay, multiple times over. And that's initially when I really started to like Trump a lot, okay, back when, what was the big thing, okay, all right, all the Mexicans that come over the southern border, they're all rapists and murderers, okay, cool. Then went back and looked at the, what's a proper word for it, okay, looked at the excerpt, looked at the clip, the quote, in proper context, okay? And then realized, oh, he's talking about MS-13 gang members. Yeah, they're pretty terrible people. Probably should keep them out of the country. What else is the media lying about? Oh, right, but nobody's going to do this, okay? Nobody's going to give this charitable interpretation to Andrew Tate or to Tristan Tate at large, because they speak some uncomfortable truths, and it's just easier to placate women because you don't want to upset the apple cart. It's amazing. It's amazing.
And I have never had a criminal record in any country on the planet. I do have a problem with this. And also I have a problem with the fact that social media has changed so much in modern times. A lot of the things I said that are being used against me were said 5 or 6 years ago in long format video. And as of late, with TikTok, with YouTube Shorts, with Instagram Reels, it's very, very easy to take 2 hours of video, snip out 10 seconds, edit it up quickly on a phone app, and then blow it up to millions and millions of views with all context removed, all tonality removed, and makes it look like I'm saying things I did not say or I mean things I did not mean. And this is something that I can't control. I became the most Googled man on the planet, and to a degree I'm a victim of my own success, because now people are trying to find any little clip of anything I've ever said, remove all the tonality, and just blow it up to try and get views to be as controversial as possible. I understand why they're doing that. They're doing that because they want the views for themselves, but they're not taking into consideration how that affects me and my personal image as a whole. And I think the things I've just highlighted has now culminated in the media believing something about me which is so pertinently false, based on videos that I have never even made, purported and accelerated and advertised by people who I don't even know, with such a small piece of video from me, with all context removed, that I've now become the #1 villain of Earth, and I truly believe that's unjust. And I want to discuss that here and prove to the world in my final message that I am not any of the things I've been accused of. Regardless of whether I am banned, reinstated, remain on social media, is completely beside the point. This is just a matter of clearing the air while I have the national consciousness.
That's why Carl's interpretation of Andrew Tate is as it is, okay? And just watched a couple of clips, right? And then you gained your opinion of who Andrew Tate is. Is this guy that we've seen so far anything close to those clips that you've seen? I know I'm just asking a question that I'm never going to get an answer to, but I'd imagine it's probably starkly different than that. Somebody who is just yelling, "Women are property. What color is your Bugatti?" No, you're getting somebody who is speaking with just such a deep understanding of the topic that he's talking about. It's really something to behold.
I was massively a victim of my own success. I decided to accelerate my public persona and presence about 6 months ago. And I was massively successful. I became the most Googled man on the planet. I am, by the metrics of the internet, the most famous individual who is currently alive in the world today.
Yeah, that's true, because you seen, what was his name, Matt 14 or something, is, in his own words, in his own bio, the queer Jew with the long nails, okay, the one that put together that nice little slideshow that thoroughly disparaged and slandered and, did all of that wonderful stuff that really got Instagram motivated to get him off the platform. Tate, that is. Yeah, he put that on there and said that Andrew Tate in the month of July was more searched on TikTok than both Donald Trump and Kim Kardashian combined. That's how popular Tate is. And you take a look at his misogynistic message, and we can't have that out there. Indoctrination is our idea, and it's our problem. It's like, get out of here. Come on now.
That comes with a bunch of advantages and disadvantages. We can go into those at depth. The disadvantages are safety aspects, safety concerns, which we're going to talk about a bit later. I've had serious threats on my life. I receive over 5,000 death threats per day. So do people who I love and people I care about. They also receive death threats. The social media companies have yet to take any action against this. They were uninterested in trying to police this in any form. The advantages are, of course, is that I have a massive effect on people. And I have had thousands of emails from men saying, "You've saved me from depression. You've saved me from suicide. You helped me so much." The #1 video on my YouTube channel, my pinned video, has been for over a year. Mind hacks, how to beat depression, how to feel better as a man.
Sitting there believing that depression is some monster from the sky that strikes your brain and now you have no control over it and you must take pills every day is the absolute enemy to a G mindset. I don't give a fuck how depressing my situation. The only person who can change it is me. The only person who can change how I feel about my situation or try and affect the situation directly is me. Even if you put me in a situation I can't change, if you put me in jail and I'm depressed because I'm in jail, I still refuse to succumb to depression. I refuse to collapse mentally and give up. I know the only person who can control my mind is me. Nobody's coming to save me.
As a man who's been through such a difficult life, I think I have a very intimate understanding of difficulty and how to grow as a man and how to become the kind of man that can handle a difficult life, because this has been my life path. This is what God chose for me. And this is what I've been teaching. And I have affected positively millions of people, and I'm immensely proud of that. I truly am. However, people couldn't stop talking about me. And when people were talking about me, they weren't doing it out of love for me. They weren't doing it because they cared about me. The main reason people were talking about me so extensively is because they cared about their own channels, their own views. They wanted their own clicks. And they understood that if they can make a YouTube video purporting a lie about me or saying bad things about me, it's more likely to get clicked. It's more likely to get watched. It's more likely to get shared. Expose, Andrew Tate is this. Expose, Andrew Tate is that.
Take a look at all the long form content that's on YouTube specifically when it comes to Andrew Tate, and it's all, like he's saying, an expose, a takedown, debunking Andrew Tate. None of it's popular. Very, very, very few videos. I'll throw my other two that are in here. This will be the third one. It's anywhere just, trying to clean up this situation that those people have created, okay? It's just, hey man, it's what they do. So could you expect anything different from what's out there? Nope. So that's why Andrew Tate thought, and it was a good idea at the time, okay? Be as thorough and explain your ideas as much as possible. You couldn't possibly have foreseen how much the TikTok people who would come out and clip everything out of context and realistically just repackage all of it could have had such an overwhelming influence. It really is wild.
And what's happened is people, through their own selfish desires of trying to piggyback off the back of my massive fame and becoming the most famous man on the planet, have decided that making a bunch of negative videos is a fantastic way for them to personally gain clout and personally gain views and clicks, which is what the internet is about. And we ended up in a situation where videos of me from long ago are being taken out of context purposefully to try and purport a narrative which is not true, because people understand that's a very easy way for them to gain some clout and leech off of my success. That's all fine. Like I said, I have no problem with people disagreeing with me, being disliked, etc. However, when it has an effect to this magnitude, where I am genuinely seen as a negative, bad influence on the world, when all of the emails I receive from people who watch me are positive, saying that I'm helping people, how I've helped their mind, I've cured their depression, it's really strange to experience such a disconnect. To have 98% of the people who email you say how fantastic you are and how much you helped them, and then 2% of unknowns threatening your life. And then everyone I meet on the street saying such amazing things. Since I've become the most famous man on the planet, I have never once had a negative experience in real life. Everybody who meets me is very respectful, a fan, we take pictures, we shake hands. Nobody has screamed at me in public. Nobody's come up to me and called me names in public. Nobody said I'm wrong. I've been to over 20 countries. I've never had a single negative in-person experience ever. So the people love me. At the same time, the media is saying I'm hated. It's a very strange disconnect that I've been experiencing. And a lot of that has been purported and accelerated by the fact that people are trying to gain views on their own channels, separate to me, nothing to do with me, by accelerating lies. It's also an interesting case study into internet mass hysteria, right? If 50 videos come out saying Tate's a bad guy, it takes a lot of bravery for someone to come out and say Tate's not a bad guy. Despite the evidence, I can show evidence to the contrary of these negative narratives for the end of time. But if somebody can see, if a YouTube creator or a content creator can see, if you make a negative video about Tate, you get a bunch of clicks, and everyone else did it, well then I may as well do it. They don't sit there and go, what about Andrew? What about the truth of this? What about the effect on his life? What about the effect on his experience of the world? That doesn't come into consideration. What comes into consideration is, everyone else did this and got a bunch of views, I want a bunch of views. And even though what they're saying is false, even though some of them know it's false, some of them may not, but the ones who are well researched know it's a lie, it's very, very tempting for them to sit there and do it anyway, because there's no repercussion. There's no downside to them. All that's going to happen is they're going to get a bunch of clicks, a bunch of views, a bunch of comments, a lot of people defending me because they know it's not true, a lot of people agreeing with them who are less researched. They're going to completely benefit, and the only person who's going to suffer is me. And because I have an iron mind and I wasn't emotionally affected by this, and I understood the nature of the internet, I didn't try to combat it too hard. I didn't know exactly what I should do, because I had already told the truth on repeat many, many, many times, but nobody would acknowledge it. They would just ignore it because it got more clicks to purport the lies.
That's why I see, well, you can just take a look at the channel here. Like, the two other videos on Andrew Tate haven't performed all that well. Like, they're fine. They're a little bit better than average, I think. I actually can't quite remember off the top of my head. But it's nothing significantly bad or nothing significantly good. I just don't like lies being out there, so I do my part to the best that I can. And for anybody whose message that I appreciate, I'll just go ahead and clear that up, even if it doesn't do a hell of a lot of clicks, because yeah, it would be super easy to just react to a bunch of TikToks and be like, okay guys, remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? Love and peace, and I hope everybody is just living their best life, and go out there and live a magical time, and make sure to smoke your vapes, and drink everything in sight, and, you know, just go out to the club and live your best life. No. It takes a little bit more effort, and I know even still I don't like doing video reactions, because especially for somebody who I agree with, and it's just a very engaging message that's going to be here. But hey man, you got to do your part when it's something that you deeply believe in, because I've been ruminating on the ideas that he espouses on the regular since at least 2014, or just even me just going back over my life, really understanding everything that's been going on, okay? And I was probably a little bit more aware even before that, and dealing with girls and friends and just life at large even before that. But really, thanks to Patrice O'Neill, really getting an understanding of things when I discovered the content in 2014. And then really probably everything started to click a little bit better earlier in 2022. And yeah, Andrew Tate was definitely a part of that. So got to do your part, okay? When somebody's in need, you got to step up, even as tiny of a voice as this is right now.
So I thought, that's the nature of the internet. I've never been this famous before. I guess that's just how it goes. Unfortunately, now public consciousness via the media has genuinely bought into a construct where people believe I'm somehow dangerous, when all I have done is save people from depression. We talk about men's mental health. Patty Pimblett just fought and talk about if you have trouble with men's mental health, come forward.
As I said, women talk to each other. There's no stigma on women. They sit around and have a cup of tea and have a jangle.
True that.
No, exactly. He tells them to take responsibility
for
for
it. Oh, I can't go and say that to him because he'll think I'm a little mushroom. You know what I mean? That's what men think. But as I said in the cage, I'd much rather my friend come to me and speak to me and cry on my shoulder than me have to cry when I'm carrying his coffin a week later.
I just wanted to show the world that if mental health could bring somebody as big as me and as strong as me and, you know, the stereotype heavyweight champion of the world to my knees, then it could bring anybody to the knees.
Tyson Fury talk about it. I talk about it. Everyone tries to talk about it. And everyone says, men, you should talk more, talk to us. I try and encourage men to be strong. I say, listen, if you're depressed, you need to get in the gym. A strong body is a strong mind. I sit there, and by using my lifestyle, which is an aspirational lifestyle that most men would love to have, purely because of the finance, the cars, the freedom, etc., I encourage people to work hard and try their best to become the best version of themselves. And men are encouraged to talk and open up, but when I talk and open up and get massive influence and start helping people, they're going to silence me.
No, you see that all the time, okay? The people who, we should have a conversation about this. We need to, as a society, address this issue. They never want to have the conversation. They just want a virtue signal. They just want to put out the idea that a conversation is the right thing to do, but they don't want they don't want a conversation of opposing ideas. They just want to talk to somebody else who they're going to agree with. And when somebody else is offering solutions instead of just furthering, well, realistically, the bandage for the theoretical gunshot wound, okay, antidepressants looking directly at you, instead of taking responsibility for your own situation. No. We don't want to actually help people. We just want to continue to push some sort of sedation that's out there. We don't want you to feel bad. We don't want to address what's making you feel bad. We just want to make you feel all right. It's the dog with the thorn in its paw, okay? He likes to cry. He likes the attention that the thorn in the paw actually gives him, but he doesn't want to remove it. It doesn't hurt that much. It hurts enough to complain about, not enough to actually fix. And when the guy comes along to fix every situation, whoa, that's a dangerous way to do it. Well, exactly, okay? I was, 400 pounds? Okay, I was going nowhere fast, busting out of a XXL t-shirt. What did I do? Well, did I complain about everything? Nope, just got my big fat ass in the gym, and now I'm who I am today because I took action. I took responsibility for what I could accomplish and what I do.
I've been nothing but a net positive for the world. That's truly how I view myself, and that's absolutely and utterly the truth. However, I am very understanding of a changing social media landscape, and I'm also very, very understanding of my fame changing. And by extension, I have some responsibility to bear. I am a man who believes that he is responsible for everything. I think as a man, you should take complete responsibility for your entire reality. It doesn't matter if I'm struck by lightning. That is my fault. That's who I am as an individual, and it's been one of my keys to success, to never blame luck, never blame anybody else, to only blame myself. So despite everything I've just said, I still blame myself. And because my rise has been so meteoric, because I've become so famous so quickly, and because I've been producing content for so long, even though I take absolute responsibility, I'm in a difficult scenario where videos that were made 5 or 6 years ago in long form are now being cut into 5 seconds, accelerated and purported now in line with my new line fame. I can't stop that happening. But I also understand I have a degree of responsibility, right? Because I'm the most influential person on the planet. So my responsibility is to make sure that any kind of negative connotations in my messaging are removed. I want to stick to my message. I don't want to backtrack. I still want to champion men's issues. I still want to champion physical and mental strength. I still want to champion the protection of women. I still want to do that. However, I must be ultra aware of how I do that, because it would be unprofessional of me as a man to sit and say that my messaging does not have to change in line with my fame. The way you can say things in a video that gets 500 views is very different than the way you can say things in a video that gets 500 million views or 50 million views. You have to change your messaging. The more people you reach,
Yeah, the message, well, the core content of the message doesn't have to change, okay? Just the delivery method, okay? Like, that just totally makes sense, especially, like, he showed the results, he showed the receipts. He's the most Googled person on Earth, okay? You have 13 billion searches on TikTok. It's probably even higher than that now, thanks to everything else that's going on. So, yeah, his name is synonymous with, well, thanks to mass media that's putting out the idea that, oh, he's a dangerous misogynist. So now he has to make sure if he ever does come back, because ultimately at the end of the video he says, I don't know if I'm going to be coming back. He might have mentioned it in the beginning, and I can't quite remember. It's been going on for a while. But even still, even if he does come back to social media in some form or fashion, obviously not with an official count, going on different podcasts and stuff, he's going to have to laser focus his messaging to make sure that if anything gets taken out of context, it's so blatantly, obviously context removed content that, hey man, nobody can catch him slipping. So he has the ability to do that. He has the perspicacity to accomplish this goal. So that's what he's going to be laying out here. Makes sense.
the more important it is that people do not take your things out of context, right? If 0.1% of people misunderstand you on a 500-person video, that will not have a large effect on the world. But if 0.1% of people misunderstand you on a video that has 50 million views, now you start to affect the world in a negative way. So I have to be very, very, very careful in line with my newfound fame. And it's difficult because in the world I'm in, if I sit down and do a 3-hour podcast, it's my job to be entertaining. And I want to give exciting answers and interesting insights. I think the reason people follow me is because I have a very firm understanding of the English language, a very good grasp of the way to construct sentences, how to be motivating, how to be compelling. And I do that on purpose. But it's also very difficult for me, regardless of my intellect, to now sit at a podcast, be interesting, be exciting, give a compendious and concise answer, at the same time be wary that in my 1-minute answer, at any point 6 seconds worth of it can be taken, snipped, used against me, and weaponized. I don't know if my mind can handle all those tasks at once. It's not very often I'm stumped, but that is becoming extremely difficult. And I'm sitting here thinking I've been offered massive podcast requests by the biggest podcasts in the world. And I'm thinking, how can I answer questions? How can I be a responsible adult, because that's what I am. How can I be a professional, take responsibility for my level of fame to make sure that nothing can be taken out of context, but still tell my truth and still answer the questions, but construct my sentences in a way where they can't be misrepresented at all. And it's hard, because I think any content creator who was suffering from what I've suffered from, if any content creator got as large as I was, and there was as many people cutting up their videos as they were mine, and those people had a negative agenda, we could make Mickey Mouse look evil. You could make anyone look bad. I'm not saying I haven't given them ammo. Of course, there's been the odd clip that made it easy for them. I'm saying if their intentions were to be as provocative and negative as possible, it can be done to anybody. And that's why now I need to take a break from all the podcasts I've been invited on, especially since I've been banned. I've been invited on the largest platforms in the world. I've had 100,000 emails of support. All the media channels want to talk to me. And I'm sitting here thinking, I need to make sure I'm not misunderstood. And I have to really be careful about how I do that while not backing down on my messaging, while still championing the things I champion, still believing in myself, but making sure I'm not misunderstood. And although I think on the internet I am one of the most respected oratists that exist, I now need to once again improve myself and improve my skills and prevent anybody being able to take me out of context. I might have to form a new way for sentences to be constructed. But if that's what it takes, that's what I intend to do. Because with great influence comes absolutely and utterly great responsibility.
That's the Jordan Peterson response. Back when he was popping off, that's exactly what he did. Kind of taking that year and change off might have done him a lot of good in retrospect, because, yeah, he was getting so popular. He was going off not just podcasts, but he was just breaking into the super mainstream. Now you can't go anywhere without people knowing the name Jordan Peterson. And just realistically, nobody got as famous as Andrew Tate. His search results were astronomical, probably still are in some form or fashion, but how do you manage that? How does a 4-time world kickboxing champion manage that? Okay, because Peterson is a psychologist. He has the understanding, he has the mechanisms in order to make that work, as opposed to Tate, who's very bright, very intelligent, incredibly articulate. How is he going to ratchet that up? How is he going to increase and level up even more? That's why he has to take the time off that he's going to.
And I do understand that. And I will blame myself for the fact that people have managed to do this to me, regardless of the fact that I did not want it to happen. So let me give a quick example of this. Before I continue, I want to say that I often speak to the absolute beauty of women. I have a very healthy relationship with my mother. I have women around me who truly and utterly love me. I have very healthy relationships with females. I have no criminal charges for crimes against females. Nobody has come forward and accused me of sexual misconduct. Please understand, we'll go into the Romanian house raid shortly. But most people in my position of fame have had women come forward and say he raped me. I'm the most famous man on the planet. There's not a single female whose face you can name or whose face you can picture that's come forward and said I've raped her. Not.
Imagine that, though, that Matt post is still up on Instagram. Obvious lies, provable lies. Go ahead, run the charges, see if Andrew Tate's name comes back with anything, any results anywhere. You won't find them, but his post, all of his social media is still up for obvious lies, purporting demonstrable falsehoods. But Andrew Tate gets taken off of every platform because he's a mean guy. Unbelievable.
Not a single female has come forward saying I've hurt her. Not one. There's a video from 10 years ago that showed me in a sexual act with one of my ex-girlfriends.
Listen, stupid bitch. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen?
Hello everyone. I just wanted to say something about the video that's been
W. Tate, by the way.
released recently about me and my ex-boyfriend Andrew Tate. Andrew is my still great friend. What you guys saw in the video, it's just what we used to do. It was just pure game. He's a great guy. He would never hurt anyone unless he's fighting.
The left understand that King.
But nobody's going to watch that, of course. It's the same old thing. CNN, all the different fake news outlets, okay? They'll put a fantastical story that's out there. Oh, the one that just immediately came to mind, the Atlantic article where Donald Trump was flying in a jet, and all of his closest confidants were there, and he was looking down at Arlington Cemetery, and it was raining that day, and he wasn't going to go outside because, all of those dead losers that are down there, I don't like any of them. It was provably false. Everybody was coming out of the woodwork saying that never happened. That's just a lie. They printed a retraction, and the retraction, what does that get? Like 10% of the audience, as opposed to the 90% of people who still believe the exact same lie. Even Joe Biden on the stage for the presidential debates was repeating that exact same lie. I got a son who's in the military. I think still he has crack or something. I don't really know. But he's not a loser or a sucker beater. And it's like, that's just a lie. That's just a lie. You guys made that up in order to push that forward. Just like with Andrew Tate. Always, he's a wife beater and he's a rapist. Okay. No, he's going to get into this. And this is an expert tactic that he's going to lay out here. Okay. And it just goes to show you. Okay. What's fine with the left. Okay. And he's going to say, what he's going to say, I'll leave that for him. But no. Just put this into your mind. All the different groomers that are out there right now. Okay. People who just want to live their life. Love is love crowd that's out there. Okay. Keep that in mind when he breaks this down.
Kink shaming is a negative thing, from my understanding. She has come forward and said that it was all just a game. And still that video is being used and sent around the internet saying I'm a woman beater. If I said it was a game and she said it was a game, who are other people to then comment on our lives, our private lives, which got leaked, and tell us it's not a game? It was between two consenting adults, and we decided to do something ourselves, and we both agreed it was fine, and she has not come forward trying to accuse me of anything. So who are others to do that? That's just kink shaming, which doesn't...
Yeah, no, exactly. Choking, slapping, biting, hair pulling. Okay, that's totally whatever. This is normally, isn't this normally what the left uses as a tactic? Okay, what happens in the bedroom between two consenting adults is totally up to them. Unless, of course, you need to attack them, then yeah, no, they just flip on a dime, right? Okay, it's the exact same thing with the abortion debate, okay? Oh, guess what? Yeah, it's your responsibility. You dropped that nut in there and now you have to pay for the kid. But then at the same time, oh, you don't have a seat at this table because you don't have a uterus. Okay, totally. Make it make sense.
That's all it is. So no women are accusing me of anything. No women are accusing me of misconduct. I champion women all the time. I say about how they should be protected, how beautiful they are, how much I love my grandmother because of the amount of children she had.
My grandmother had 9 children because there was my father and 8 more. They all had a bunch of kids, blah, blah, blah. I stood there and I looked at my 93-year-old grandmother, and there was a whole room full with maybe 70 people that came from that one woman. Isn't that remarkable? Yeah, that nobody cared about her career. Nobody asked what job she did. Nobody asked how many times she went to the club. Nobody asked if she had time to go to festivals. No, you had 70 sentient beings, including myself, full of life from one woman who dedicated herself to being a mother and a good wife. That is beautiful.
Shout out Miami Hoes.
I talk about how women are unique and special and they can do things that men can't do. And still these clips are taken out of context. Let me give you an example.
I absolutely not really love women. I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet. They create life. They should be protected. They should be provided for. I would never let a woman pay for a bill. I would never let a woman, if someone touched any of my women, I would stand up against 10 men by myself and risk my life to protect her. I believe that women are beautiful creatures. I just don't think that they're as emotionally calm as men in stressful situations. I don't think they can fight like a man can. And for the same reason, I would never drop my children in an all-male nursery. I think that's strange and weird. I would only drop them in an all-female nursery. Women do certain things and men do certain things.
That, by the way, is the Dave Portnoy podcast that Jason Whitlock is just unaware of. But that's one that I'd like to break down at one point in time. We'll see how everything shakes out.
Now, I believe everything I said. I believe in protecting women. I believe in championing women. I believe in making sure that women are provided for. However, that video was made when I was far less famous. In light of the things I just said to you earlier in this video, I understand that now, as my fame grows, even though to me my message is very clear.
Yeah, just for proper context, that podcast was either the day before or the day after the initial XQC debate came out, and that's what really kicked everything off. So yeah, no, that was definitely right at the beginning, probably pre everything really taken off. So it kind of slipped under the radar, but it was expert Tate right there.
A man has certain roles in society, a woman has certain roles in society, and when we work as a team, when we love each other, society is better as a whole. I think that these views are not very controversial at all. I think they were mainstream only a few years ago. I don't think that they're controversial. Most of the people I meet in the world don't think they're controversial. The women I hang around with don't think they're controversial. Nobody on the street I've ever met thinks they're controversial. Everybody agrees with me. However, the way I'm saying it, the way I'm getting the message across, because I'm trying to be as energetic as possible, I understand that a small, tiny percentage of people might misunderstand me. And that...
That's people just willingly engaging in bad faith interpretations and wanting to get that little soundbite whenever, somebody sits down and has a conversation for 3, 4, 5 hours even, okay? A multiple day event. No. They just want to clip out one little thing to just show, oh, Andrew Tate's a misogynist, right? Mm-hmm.
That didn't matter when I didn't have any views. I didn't have any followers. But now I'm the most famous man in the world. I have to be a lot more careful with how I say it. But what's really worrying is this. That clip, I would like to think, even my biggest haters can agree, is a clip that is positive about women as a whole. Perhaps you may not like my tonality or the way I structured certain sentences, but as a whole, I'm saying positive things about women.
No, he sounded very angry when he was delivering it. It's not what you said, it's how you said it.
At one point during that speech, I said women do certain things and men do certain things. That clip has been taken. That cut of my language, men do certain things, women do certain things. Somebody, I have no idea who, has made a TikTok where it says men do certain things, and it shows videos of me driving around in cars, spending money, and women do certain things, and it shows women cleaning.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is how the lie perpetuated around the world that Andrew Tate's just this evil man. Just play the TikTok here.
Women do certain things and men do certain things.
Did you hear how hard that cut was? I would, just let's see if I can just run it back maybe a little bit. Yeah, but that's one way, okay? And like I've stated before, I'm a big old school Opie and Anthony fan, right? And they put me on to the whole, there's the broadcaster voice that's out there, okay? Like Man Cow, Bubba the Love Sponge, and a whole bunch of other little local hacks that are out there. You know who's really bad at that? Sportscasters. Sportscasters have the worst announcer voice, the puker voice, the, okay, bottom of the ninth, we got 2 outs. You just can't listen and you can't interpret anything the exact same way once that exposed to people. But they were also very instrumental in really pointing out hard audio cuts, okay, or especially if you're just watching a video of somebody who's out there. And then if I'm not on my game one specific day, you're gonna see a couple of different jump cuts, but you're gonna hear it here. Listen for it. As hard of a cut as you're gonna possibly hear, because there's a difference in the audio quality when it comes after that. Women are good at certain things. Hard cut. It barely gets to even get the D off of the end of good out before it's just a hard cut into, just the stock generic cleaning footage. I'm sure there's worse things that are out there, but that's one of the clips that's like, oh my God, Andrew Tate's obviously a misogyny. No, he's not, because the proper context to that is something completely different. He just played you that. Women are good at certain things. Men are good at certain things. Men and women are not the same. They are better together than they are apart. But you have to acknowledge a certain biological differences between the two sexes.
I have no idea who has made a TikTok where it says men do certain things, and it shows videos of me driving around in cars, spending
I'll just
money,
let it play, fuck it.
and women do certain things, and it shows women cleaning.
Women do certain things and men do certain things.
Wasn't that so obvious? Like, come on, okay, just do that for anybody. Even if you don't agree with anybody fully and you're hearing these clips, it's like, oh, look at how bad this person is, whatever the context is on top of that. Just listen for those little cues to just see if somebody's engaging in good faith interpretation.
Somebody off their own back, somebody else has made that video. I didn't tell them to. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their account is. It's just viral on the internet somewhere.
And not to say that that was intentional by whoever clipped that up. Obviously, it's a funny joke, and then putting the stock footage over the back end of the Andrew Tate stuff, it's like, and then men should be as successful as Andrew Tate. There was probably no malice behind the original content producer, whoever was on TikTok, okay, the Mr. Producer over on TikTok, inside joke, if you know, you know. But even still, okay, it could be interpreted by people out there that think that Andrew Tate, he's one of those 1950s Neanderthals, or, you know, fake alpha, or whatever the fuck they'll just call him stupidly.
And now I look like I'm saying women should only clean and men should only run around with cars and women and money. I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. I said that women should be protected and provided for. But because a small clip was taken out of context and used against me and weaponized, now I look like I've said things I did not say. And no matter how positive my message about women, if the intention is to try and make me look bad, even with a clip like that, They found a way to make me look bad. That's the scary thing. That's why I've titled this video My Final Message, because I don't know, even with my entire brain, I don't know with all of my genius intellect, if I can find a way for nothing to be used against me. It's extremely difficult. One line out of context has made me look bad, and millions of people saw that, and people didn't see the long format video, and they've deduced that I hate women and that women should only clean, when really I was trying to stick up for and protect women and give my true views on women. And this
Bad
comes
faith
full
actors.
circle to the Instagram ban. I am very understanding of why Instagram felt like it was necessary to ban me. I am not mad at Instagram. I'm a professional, and as a professional, I'm not an emotional person. I do not do emotional responses. Although I believe it's unfair, although I believe I've been unfairly vilified, although I believe it's not the right thing to do because it doesn't allow me to shift the public consciousness in a constructive manner, although I think it would have been better for them to say, Andrew, certain things are being taken out of context. You need to be careful that doesn't happen. A lot of people listen to you. And I could have become a champion for women's rights.
That's a guy right there who's engaging in the world as it is instead of what he thinks it should be. Somebody who deals in what reality is as opposed to their interpretation. What makes them feel good because he broke it down. Okay, yeah, I got banned on Instagram. I can understand, okay, the interpretation, the idea in the media, in the zeitgeist that's out there. I'm this dangerous person. I should be removed from the platform. I understand why they think that way. And then he broke it down. It's like, it's probably unjust. Okay, I don't agree with their decision, and then he lays out his argument in this. Okay, understanding the way things are, not complaining about them, understanding the situation and how and why. What's important about doing that, so you know your battle plan going forward. This is just such fundamental stuff that not enough people get access to this type of information. You're just told to, be a slave to your emotions. That's not what Andrew Tate's telling you. And who's the guy who's getting canceled and who are the guys getting promoted in contrast to this? Ah, boy.
I am not emotional. I understand why they did it, because that's a perfect example of how people are desperate to try and make the things I say look worse than they are, and using social media platforms to purport negative views of women. And it doesn't matter if it's a negative view of a woman, negative view of men, negative view of a sexuality. It doesn't matter what it is. It should be stopped. I agree with that. And Instagram or Meta have a responsibility to show that they are listening to the public. They want to show that they are listening. I have some good people on the case, and dialogue with Instagram I would like to open, and we'll proceed as God sees fit. If God believes that I do not need an Instagram page, then I will not have one. If God believes that I do, then I shall. This is not just about Instagram. This is just me saying to Instagram that I totally understand. I just wanted to make it clear that I didn't want these things to be said.
A lack of one thing doesn't preclude a life of, his life being over. That's just what he's telling you. You can have something taken away from you, even as unjustly as it was. Doesn't mean that you have to give up on everything. Like, he will survive. You will persist on.
That clip of the cleaning and me being taken out of context has no benefit for me. Everyone dislikes me on the internet. Certain people watch it and know it's not true. The ones who've watched the longer format stuff of my videos and they're fans of mine, fine. So certain people remain neutral because they know it's false. But people who don't then dislike me. My family gets death threats. I get death threats. Hate is spread online. Like, there's no benefit for me. If I could stop that happening, I absolutely would. Which is why I want to adjust my messaging and adjust the way I talk. I don't want that to happen. That doesn't help me. I would love for that to never happen. And Instagram think the way for that to stop happening is to ban me. I agree it should stop happening, but I don't think banning me is the answer.
No, that's true. And again, just listen to what he's saying right here. Is this a dangerous message, or is this a message of bad things are going to happen in your life? What are you going to do about it? Complain about it and take responsibility and then forge an action plan for it. It's wild. It'll never cease to amaze me. Who gets canceled and who doesn't, and who gets promoted and who gets banished to the shadow realm.
Because there will always be someone else, and there will be a new hate mob and new out of context videos. And this is a problem which is larger than Andrew Tate. This is an internet problem. This is a problem with short format video, short attention spans, nobody looking into anything in detail, things taken out of context. This is a really big problem that the world has to address that goes beyond me. And if I've had to martyr my presence on social media to raise a conversation, which is going to be a net benefit for the world as a whole, then I'm happy with that. I'm happy if people go, you know what, this happened to Andrew Tate, it's now happening to other people. We have to change the way we review censorship, banning, content creation, content proportion, all these things. That's fine, if that's the life path which has been chosen for me.
It's an idealistic interpretation of events, but the same cabal that got rid of Andrew Tate is the exact same cabal that got rid of a sitting United States president. Nothing is going to change because it's the exact same people pushing the exact same narrative, getting rid of anybody that they perceive as being a threat to their control. And Andrew Tate, like he was showing, most searched individual on Earth, and you could extrapolate that out to being the most famous individual on Earth. Somebody who is just telling you that responsibility is the way. Responsibility and authority is the way that a masculine, responsible man acts in the world. As opposed to, what's the message for masculinity out there? Everything should be in service to a woman. That's what tradcons, that's what feminists are pushing as well. The world was built for women. Yeah, well, it was built by man, and men were happy with women at the time when the authority was with the man, and now abdicated that authority part of it. Okay, so now all that men are left with, the mainstream narrative that's pushed out there. Men have all the responsibility in everything that they do, and responsibility without authority is simply slavery. One of Andrew Tate's sayings, resist the slave mind. Couldn't it be more appropriate now than it has ever been?
I just want to make it clear that I don't like when that happens. I don't want that to happen myself because I don't gain anything from that. On Instagram, absolutely no rules were broken. My captions were just poetry that I wrote. My pictures were just lifestyle. Car, house, boat. I never broke any rules on Instagram. I never had any strikes. I never done anything wrong on Instagram.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, because again, just, rolling through the content, it's just a bunch of supercar pictures, a bunch of goofy shit that he's doing with him and his brother and whoever else is in close proximity. No nudity at all, okay, at least what Instagram would do or deem as nudity, okay. You've seen a bunch of other bitches out there just posting silhouettes of themselves, in provocative ways, and then just scribbling out their nipples. Yeah. But get rid of Andrew Tate because he's got 27 supercars and he has a Bugatti.
The only rule infringements on Instagram were my comment section, where hate mobs inspired by these videos that we've been discussing, these videos which were deliberately taken out of context and deliberately fictional, hate mobs were inspired at the end of YouTube videos to go to my Instagram and insult me. So
if you think that the N-word has been completely obliterated from polite society, just peer any single YouTube comment section. Just saying.
The only infringements you would find on Instagram is in my comment section, where thousands of people who were sent by random YouTubers who don't like me would come, threaten to kill me, mock my dead father, threaten to kill my brother, threaten to kill my family, threaten to find me. These were the only rule infringements on Instagram. Things written against me by other YouTubers, telling them to go and do it, while all I wrote is poetry. And on repeat, multiple times I said on my stories, if you're going to defend me, do it respectfully. Even if people hate me, even if they're insulting me, don't insult them back. Hate doesn't beat hate. It just creates a brick wall. If somebody says they hate me, explain to them calmly that they don't understand the context. Show them a longer format video. Show them how I stick up for marginalized people. Explain I'm a person of color and I've been marginalized in my childhood. Show them how I had a gay friend when I was a kid. Show them how I stick up for women. Don't just reply saying you're stupid, you don't know the truth. Don't fight hate with hate. I was encouraging all of my followers and all of my fans to be respectful people, even when sticking up for me. Once again, trying to turn negativity into positivity.
That's what you should do with anybody that you personally respect, and somebody else might have a counterpoint on that, but if you press them on anything, it'll mostly just kind of devolve. If you guys are good, if you are on good terms, if you want to engage in an honest debate, their criticisms of a certain situation will probably just cater or just kind of crumble to the wayside. Okay, I don't like them because it doesn't feel good. And it's like, well, if you listen to anything that he has to say, I just watched a couple of clips that are online. And it's like, okay, well, what did you watch? And then it'll mostly just degenerate into, oh yeah, he's got a couple of catchphrases. And it's like, well, actually, he's got a pretty good message here. Take a look at this. Yeah, exactly. Oh, but it's long. Yeah, YouTube has that, auto catch up feature, or, history settings. It's a wild thing, right? Technology has come quite a far way.
Social media. My Instagram had no infringements. That was the only anti-policy things on the page, things targeted against me. And I didn't really complain to Instagram because I wasn't taught as a person to go complaining to authority. I thought, this is the internet. That's how it works. Just ignore it. Don't worry about it. Soon the truth of your heart and your character will come through. Soon.
Theoretically, that's what Section 230 of the United States Communication Act should prevent against, okay? Anybody who just posts something out there, okay, they have a right to free speech and, protection under the United States Constitution, care of that little, section of the Communications Act that was written back in 1996. But it doesn't. At least it doesn't equally. And that's out there. Just, put that out there, right?
Soon people will see the light and they'll change because that's the way the world is. People often flip-flop on issues. This is how things happen. The redemption arc is going to be beautiful. I really, truly believe that within a few years, people are going to understand that I'm a force for good in the world. And often, people say, well, don't have Tate as a male role model. There's better ones. Where are they?
No, this is incredibly important. Like, I laid out the people that I respect earlier in the video: Rolo, John, Myron from Fresh and Fit. Okay, I like those guys. I think that they're very good. But the way that Andrew Tate is talking about this, and I was listening to a couple of other breakdowns of this video beforehand, they were mentioning, the same type of people, because that's the type of content that I watch now. And you just go back and watch some of the old school or old order idea content, and yeah, man, there's no going back at this point. And I'm totally fine with that, because these guys are generally engaging. Okay, they're entertaining people, but even still, nobody who is talking like Tate does, who's espousing these ideas, are on his level. Just think about the A-list celebrities that are out there, the A-list influencers that are out there, okay, on YouTube, on Instagram, everybody else that's out there. What are they doing? Just basically hawking things that aren't going to make your life better. What is Tate doing? He's a misogynist, right? Because I watched a couple of clips on TikTok. Yep, of course.
There are no other male role models. Because to inspire the youth of men, you need to be aspirational. They have to look at you and want to be like you. And there's no other male role models that have had the tenacity or the aggressiveness to have such a fantastic life as I have, that they're going to listen to me. They listen to me because of my authority, and my authority comes from my life experiences. If my mentality is so wrong, how have I managed to amass enormous wealth? How have I managed to amass huge social status? How have I managed to physically dominate the planet? I've done things that men respect and they look up to me. So that's why I can lead them. And I understand my messaging should change in light of the fact that I can be taken out of context.
No, he got all of his millions of dollars by running a multi-level marketing scheme. Duh, because that's what Hassan told me.
But me being alive on the internet will allow me to lead men in a very positive direction. Banning me and deleting me leaves a black hole where they say there'll be another masculine leader. But the men don't listen. The youth of today won't listen to anybody else. That's the reason I'm the most famous man on the planet, because none of these other people have the authority to affect them like I do. It's me or nobody. And I truly believe that me, with reformed messaging, now understanding of my newfound fame, is so much better for the world than nobody. Because nobody just leads to black holes of who knows what, and it can't be controlled. And that's where the internet is truly dangerous. Speaking of Instagram,
No, I just want to speak on that really quickly because, again, yeah, most of these ideas, I remember when I first heard them, it's like, wow, this is wild. It's like men are men, women are women. You intrinsically know that, but then when you hear somebody tell you what you feel inside and you can properly articulate it the way that Andrew Tate does, like I hold up Patrice O'Neill as a guy who just really introduced my mind to these ideas. It's something that I already knew, okay, like me being good with girls before knowing that, okay, it's like, oh, okay, when I was my most masculine, that's when I was getting the most women, okay, it's like I couldn't quite quite understand that. But then when I started to, you know what, hey, just give in to the ideas of society that I need to be vulnerable with a girl. Yeah, be vulnerable with a girl and then watch her never talk to you again within the next week. Oh, okay, cool. But then when you're being stoic, when you're being authoritative in a relationship, oh, everybody peacefully coexists. Interesting. And then you know those ideas, and then when they're told to you from a different perspective, or maybe they just tell you a couple of different pieces of terminology that can really make it click forward in your head, the world just opens up. It was like the final piece that I really needed to crystallize these ideas was properly expressing the way that women are today, okay? Just adding that little term, masculinized women, that are out there right now. That completely changed the game for me. Everybody just needs that one little piece. Some people, okay, they're just like your traditional lock that are out there. You're about 3/4 of the way through with the key, okay? You've got 7 of the 8 tumblers clicked. All you just need is that additional little force forward, and then just to turn the lock a little bit, and your mind will be unlocked, okay? Not to sound like a cult or anything like that, but some people just need that little bit extra to really, really open up their mind. That's what Tate was doing for most people out there, and that's dangerous for, especially for a society that just wants you to be subservient. Don't think for yourself. Just be a good little taxpayer, and we'll just give you enough bugs and a nice little pod for you to just scrape by. Don't think for yourself, kids, right? And if you do, and if you listen to a guy that we as the cathedral don't quite appreciate, we'll just get rid of him, so you don't have to hear any of those mean words going forward.
I was understanding in recent weeks of how these negative fictional stories of me were gaining traction, and I wanted to try very, very hard to counter them. I put a post on Instagram, which you can see here, where I explained that the things I've said have been taken out of context. And just because I champion men's rights,
I never actually got a chance to read this, so I'll just read it to anybody who's just listening to this in the background. I have decided to show what a loving, nice man I am and donate significant funds to charities which support women against domestic violence. What a misogynist. Oh, wait, no. He's just doing this to be a virtue signaler, right? However, I will also donate significant funds to charities which help men with mental health issues. Oh, no, but this was the same guy who said that depression isn't real, therefore he hates all mental illness and he thinks that people who are just sad or weak. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, maybe if I listen to what this guy has to say, it's not like anything that I've been told of what he says. I support men and stick up for them. And the haters and liars think this means I hate women. No. We can both win. People need support. We can support men and women. Top G has kindness for all. He's going to explain what he's going to be doing off the back of this, okay? And if Instagram ever gets back to him on one specific metric, what, in fact, like he says, Top G has kindness for all and deep pockets for all. Like, again, you can hold two ideas, okay, that are not really completely different, but they are parallel thinkings, okay? You can support women and you can support men at the same time, even though modern day feminism, okay, the gynocentric social order just wants to raise up women, okay? And then if you just start to mention any uncomfortable truths, clearly you're a misogynist. You're just trying to take down women. You're just one of those MRAs that's out there, okay? You just want to raise up men, but then at the same time, that'll cast a shadow on women. No, you can do two different things at the exact same time. You can be out there for the support of mental health of both sexes out there, okay? Nobody has to suffer. It seems pretty logical, doesn't it?
does not mean I dislike women. I think that men are underrepresented in the world today. And as people often say, men need to speak up. I'm here speaking for the men. I'm here trying to speak up. People are speaking up because of me. We're raising important issues in the world today because of me. Deleting me and blocking me is only going to hurt men as a whole and increase all the problems we see with the youth of the men today.
Yeah, exactly. Because anybody who sees the meteoric rise of Andrew Tate thinks that he's got a really good message. I know that a bunch of people think that he's a sexist, misogynist, just an abuser or something like that, a rapist, or he's a sex trafficker that's out there. He's going to dispel those very quickly, those allegations very, very quickly. But no, you put those ideas out there. You see somebody who's thinking, yeah, you know what? I've watched all of his content. He has very good ideas, and then they see the immediate deletion of his online presence. You are telling people out there that if you say what Andrew Tate says, you're going to be deleted just like Andrew Tate, just as quickly. So don't even bother to try to reach up there and better your lot in life. Okay, we've got your back. Okay, we being, society at large, which is damaged men, marginalized men, got rid of their influence in society. They don't have your best interest at heart, okay? And like he said, this is going to damage more men out there with the deletion of him off of all of these big platforms. He's 100% true. Just adding an additional bit of context out there, okay? Not taken away, just doing a little bit of addition.
So I put a post up and I said, listen, people misunderstand me. I'm going to donate money to a female charity that supports women against domestic violence. And I'm also going to donate money to a charity that supports men's mental health. Just because I support men doesn't mean I hate women. I love people. I'm a person full of love, and I want people as a whole to elevate, not just men or women. I promised $1 to each charity for every like. That's $2 per like total, $1 to each charity. At the time of my banning, I had 550,000 likes or something like that, I believe. And if I hear from Instagram, what I would like them to do is to clarify the final likes amount on that post, so that I can stick to my word, because that's what I am. I'm a man of my word. I was not doing it purely just to post a receipt on social media. I was doing it because I genuinely believe it's a good thing to do.
That is so smart, because it also puts the onus on Instagram to get back to him in some form or fashion, because it's like, okay, you guys are holding up $1.5 million in donations to legitimate charities just because you guys don't want to get back to him, and then at the same time give Tate some sort of an insight as to if he's going to be back on these platforms. It's really smart. And again, hey man, it's the ball's in your guys' court. Are you going to play, or are you just going to be a whiny bitch and go home crying?
And I would like Instagram to confirm the final amount of likes on that picture so I can donate the $1.2, $1.3 million that I promised I would donate to both of those charities independently. I would even be happy for Instagram to select the two charities and confirm and verify my donation. I'd be very happy to do that because I said I was going to do that. And I'm a man of my word. I stick to my word. What's interesting to me is when I put that post up, if anybody else had promised to do that, there'd be massive positive attention. But everybody ignored it. Nobody in the media wanted to post about it. None of the YouTubers wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about it because it doesn't get clicks. You only get clicks for hating me. You don't get clicks for telling the truth about me. So nobody's interested in telling the truth. Everybody ignored my charitable donations. If anybody else donated $1.3 million to charity, I'd like to think there'd be some sort of headline. But if I want to do it, nobody cares. And that's very, very unfair.
No, that's fair. That's 100% fair. His interpretation, okay? The fact that nobody covered it, and I didn't know about this until he brought this up in the video. And it's like, yeah, no, exactly. One of the situations where it's the boy who cried wolf, okay? Because you see a bunch of the other influencers that are out there. I'm going to make this big donation to charity. And it's like, yeah, we understand that you just want the virtue signaling points. Maybe it was in the caption or something like that. If that was the post that Andrew Tate put up on his Instagram, okay, it doesn't tell you anything about that. And then he's also going to get into his charitable past and what everything else that he's doing. It's another reason, okay? And Donald Trump is exactly the same way. It's a reason why I respect both of these guys. They're two different individuals, obviously. They have a lot in common, okay? And that's probably why I like both of them so much. They do their charity in silence, okay? They don't need the recognition. They don't need the adoration for it. If you don't believe me on the Trump stuff, just go ahead and check the receipts there of how he makes his charitable contributions, okay? Either anonymously or just peer-to-peer, okay? The people that work in Trump Tower, there are multiple stories of him going down to, I think there's an ice cream shop in the foyer, or at least there was some restaurant in some point in time, where he would go down there and thank somebody by just going down there, hope everybody's having a great day, and hand out $100 bills to the people that are working there. People who do charity without seeking recognition, those are the type of people that I appreciate. If you want the big press release, if you want the headline, you want the big old check, you want the photo op that's there because, oh, we as a corporation, we're such good people, we're going to donate $10 million to this. And I don't know, just pick charity A, okay? A battered women's shelter, okay? $10 million. I would give more appreciation to the person like Andrew Tate who would just do their charity in silence, okay? That post specifically isn't necessarily in silence, but you're going to see some things very shortly, which he has done in the background before he started to pop off. So he's a good guy. He really is a good guy, and that's why, I don't know, maybe I'm taking this so personally when it comes to just him being deplatformed, because like I've said before, I've known of Andrew Tate for months at this point, okay? I've heard him talk, I've heard him elaborate his positions. He's not anything that mass media has purported him to be, and it's totally unfair, but it's not unexpected from the media.
What's also unfair is the people who say that they care about women and they're worried about misogyny and using this to attack me and try and have me deleted from the internet, they don't donate any money to charity. They don't help women. They don't want to do anything but spread hate. Right now they hate Andrew Tate. When I'm gone, they'll hate someone else. They'll find someone else's comment section to go into, insult, threaten their lives, insult their dead parents, hate, 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 hate. They're not going to donate money to charity. They're not going to help women. They're just going to sit there and hate me until I'm gone and then hate somebody else. This is a hate mob, and they're pretending that they care about women. They don't care about anybody. They're just hateful. And by Instagram allowing the hate mob to be successful, it inspires further hate mobs. It inspires further hate, further division. I understand that Instagram and Meta and Facebook need to, as a whole, keep their fingers on the pulse of the national opinions. I understand that. But once we have confirmed that the national opinion is misunderstood, then we have to sit there and go, do we want to bow to hate mobs, which are accelerating and encouraging people to become more hateful for views and to get people banned via hate, when these people may be actually doing good things to the real issue as a whole? Is this a good idea for us to now bow and bend to these people? And this is a really interesting conversation which can be had for many, many hours about the internet, about society, about sociology, about psychology, about so many things. This expands in so many different directions. It's actually very, very interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have because we're living in an unprecedented time of humanity where the world is so connected and we're all kind of unprepared for it, right? It's very, very interesting. I find it super interesting. It's something I've been talking about internally and I would love to talk about more in person. And when I decide to finally come back to public consciousness and do podcasts and that kind of thing, it's something we will be talking about because it's a very, very interesting subject.
How do you course correct on a societal issue? Okay, because you have one side who has a specific target, what they want for the world, okay? And then just having a good faith conversation with those type of people, even though they've spent the past 50, 60, 100 years really dictating the flow of the world. Are you going to be able to change that? Are you going to be able to do the real-time course correction? That's not in their best interest. And the people who make the rules normally make the rules for their benefit, not for yours, not for the masses that are out there. And that's the way that they'll market it. That's the way that they will sell it. But at the end of the day, man, they don't want to engage in that type of a talk. It's an incredible topic. It's a great conversation to have. But again, like I said earlier in the video, it's always the people who want to have these tough talks never want to have the talks. They just want to have the idea of having the talk. I totally agree with them. It's just unfortunately never going to happen with the right people. It's going to happen with people who are engaged and want to be able to correct a lie that has been pushed by the media, by social media, by the cathedral at large, by all of the people at the levels of levers of power. There we go. It's a long video. Come on, cut me a little bit of slack. But Those people, they want to continue to be able to dictate society. They want to put out the narrative that they have, and if they need to, okay, under immense amount of pressure, to put out some sort of a correction, okay, it's just a little editor's note at the bottom of it, they have to be drugged right now, kicking and screaming. Can that change in the future? That's why we need to have these type of well-articulated, educated people to have these types of conversations. People who have already been drugged through the mud, just like Andrew Tate.
I'm teaching that it takes tenacity and toughness to become a credible man of merit and value. I think even my hardcore detractors would agree with me. If you're in trouble and you call the police, you want a tenacious, tough man to appear, to help you, to protect you. There's nothing wrong with being a tenacious, ambitious, tough man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with strength, mental and physical. These things are used to protect people, protect men and women. This is a protective state. You can't protect anything if you're not strong. Strength is a beautiful thing. The world is built on the backs of strong men, and I'm trying to teach men to be strong again because it makes the men feel happier inside, it solves men's mental health, and it also makes the world a genuinely better place.
No, but the war room's just a scam. It's $5,000 to join. You know what it is? Okay, I think I've made this analogy before, but it bears repeating. Okay, there used to be gentlemen's clubs out there, not strip clubs or anything like that. It used to be a place where guys could get together and shoot the shit and, opine on men's issues. Like, you'd have the Elks Club, the Legion, okay, the Rotary Club. Those used to be male-exclusive spaces, okay? Now you have women's gyms, you have women's sections inside of larger gyms. Like, I remember Gold's Gym having it, okay? Like, there's no places exclusively for men. Why? Because that's misogynistic. You can't have that anymore. Well, that's what the war room is, okay? At least that's what I've been told. It's what it is. That's Tate's message when it comes to that specifically. There's nothing wrong with that because, like everybody's been pointing out, like I've said earlier in the video, there's been a vilification of masculinity. And if there's enough people wanting to get together, a strong network of men to build up men, see that as a net benefit to the world because masculinity, hey, kind of built everything that's going on here. Looking at a TV, talking to a camera, using lights, everything. Those were invented by men for the purpose and for the betterment of society at large. Not just specifically for men. Everybody benefits from, guess what? Mics, cameras, lights. It's wild. What can happen when men are imbued with responsibility and authority? We need to return to that. Or course correct so we don't end up just degenerating into a society where you just kind of see where it's going at this point. And it's not good unless somebody comes up and really makes this a public issue.
People are taking my lessons and me trying to teach strength and misconstruing them, saying that I'm trying to teach men to be oppressive or aggressive. That's absolutely not the case. And at the same time, they're ignoring my charitable donations to the world. And at the same time, other media creators are rewarded for purporting lies and spinning lies about me. And then at the same time, the media buys into this. And at the same time, we're in the current situation where this entire storm has appeared, where I've genuinely only been a net positive on the world for anyone who's watched my content in all of its long form.
That's 1,000% true. Again, I think that this is a pretty good encapsulation of what he normally puts out there. Sure, he's normally ratcheted up to 10, right? He's got his glasses on. He might not have as many shirts as he's wearing right now, but it's the same general message that's out there. It is a net benefit for the world. I've heard every argument on both sides, okay? And this one, in my interpretation of events, and if you believe or you find yourself in parallel thinking with me most of the time, you would find yourself agreeing with his message as well.
When Instagram tells me and confirms to me the number of likes on that post, I'm going to make the donation. As well as that, the future for me, now that I will be a lot more careful and a lot more selective with the social media I'll be producing, if any at all, is I'm going to be starting a foundation, the Tate Foundation, which is going to be dedicated towards charitable acts of both genders. I have been very, very private about certain elements of my personal life, as has my brother. However, my brother has a daughter, and she's beautiful. She's my niece. I don't want her to grow up in a world where women are hated. I don't want her to grow up in a world where men are oppressive and hurting women.
I didn't know about that, and that was the first time. I think that's probably the first time either of them have made it public. And again, his brother is just a little bit of a different vocal intonation, but they're basically the exact same people. They are the ones who rely on each other the most, and they just form the framework for the war room and for the betterment of masculinity, because they have been kind of bouncing these ideas off of each other. Because, you know what, hey, growing up, he detailed his background growing up in south side of Chicago and then moving to the UK. It was him and his brother. Doesn't talk a lot about his sister. Things might be completely different. I think I heard Tristan, who's the name of his brother, kind of detail that she kind of went off the leftist deep end, okay? And that's also a good sign of a successful parentage, okay? If your parents brought you up correctly, you could be going in one direction and your sibling could be going in a completely other direction. That just goes to show you that individuality, the choice of the individual is ultimately going to guide their life more than anything else that's out there, okay? As long as, you just take out the obvious, like extreme traumas and stuff like that, people are going to develop how they're going to develop. Just it's incumbent on you how that's going to manifest. And that's what Tate's talking about with responsibility.
Why would I possibly want that? I want her to find a strong man who can protect her, who can provide for her, who can make sure she's safe, but I don't want anything bad to ever happen to her. My own personal circumstances regarding family are something that are once again confidential, but I can confirm to you that the last thing I would ever want is for women to be marginalized in the future, for genuine misogyny or sexism to take hold on the planet. I would completely and utterly be very unhappy with that for my own personal reasons. The Tate Foundation is going to be dedicated towards helping men's mental health and also protecting women from violence against men. You're going to see in the upcoming months and years that I'm not somebody who's doing this just for likes or doing this just for views, that I'm somebody who's doing this because he genuinely has the capability to help people. And I believed I was helping people via social media, and if that's going to be taken away from me, then I will continue my philanthropy in other realms. Please, if you want to have more information, you can go to cobratate.com, sign up to the emailing list, and my emailing list is going to start detailing all of my charitable acts from here on out. I'll be spending millions and millions of dollars on charitable acts for the rest of my human life. God has blessed me with fantastic wealth. It's more money than I will ever personally need. I already was doing my philanthropy through encouraging men, and if that's going to be destroyed, then I've decided to start the Tate Foundation and specifically help with financial aid, women, protection from violence primarily. I'm in Romania, which is very close to Ukraine, and there's a lot of problems there with violence against women and women trying to escape the country, and men's mental health issues. And this will all be detailed on my newsletter at cobratate.com, and I encourage people to follow.
Why he decided to pick women's domestic violence? Well, it's very simple. If you've been watching some of his long-form content as well, he raises a very good point, okay? Women's self-defense classes, that's the easiest way to get a woman killed, especially in the street, because, again, I'm just going to take myself as an example, because it's perfectly fine, too, in this circumstance, okay? If I had a screw loose, I'm a guy, I'm 6.5 feet tall, I'm about 215 pounds. If I really decided to let loose, I could probably, if I'm holding a woman by the back of her head, even though she thinks that she has all of these self-defense moves, oh, she's going to start throwing knees to the groin, okay? Oh, she's going to make me pass out by so many kicks to the nuts. Yeah. I just move a little bit and then she can't knee me in the nuts. Great. What is she going to do when I grab the back of her head, okay? And then in about 4 different punches, I'm able to touch the palm through the back of her head via her face. Teaching women self-defense, how she's just gonna block a punch, block a kick, okay? Somebody with my force, somebody who has no regard for human life, that's just gonna get you killed. The best way to go about seeing violence in the street, knowing that there's a dangerous situation that is gonna be forced upon you, get the fuck out of the way, okay? And that's why Andrew Tate, that is something that he has talked about extensively, laying that out, okay, saying that those self-defense classes, yeah. If you want to do jujitsu, okay, you want to be a boxer, you want to be a kickboxer, you want to go into the gym in a controlled environment, that's great. But when real violence, when real crime is going on in the streets, there's nothing you can do against a man that is going to make you equal outside of a weapon, okay? So train in firearms, and yeah, that's nice. If you're going to get involved in a certain sport, you should be keeping yourself fit and healthy. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. But don't get it twisted. Those self-defense classes, okay, using somebody's body weight to flip you over on their back, guess what? Unless you just magically land somebody on their head, they're going to get back up. And if you think that you're just going to be able to throw a little punch and knock somebody out, somebody of my size, somebody of my equivalent size, with one punch, no. You're putting yourself in a terrible situation. That's just, it's rubbish thinking, truly. So that's why he specifically picked domestic violence, because it's something that he's talked about a lot. And knowing that there are biological differences between men and women, the rest of the world should just really catch up with, a proper understanding of the world.
My other charitable acts are things that I haven't really advertised or talked about. I always felt a bit embarrassed to tell people about the charity I do, because when I do charity, I think it should be from the heart, not for likes. But I understand now that all of the media is saying I'm a bad guy, and I'm not even telling the world all the good I do, because I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think you should just give from the goodness of your heart, not for attention. But that's unfair for people to be saying I'm a bad person when I run a shelter for dogs in Romania because of the stray dog problem, because of the fact that I just recently rebuilt an entire orphanage because there's an orphanage problem in Romania. There'll be a plaque called the Tate Orphanage on this orphanage, and you can see here messages of thank yous from the children and the woman who's running it. I did this months ago before anybody disliked me. I didn't even tell anybody. I just rebuilt an orphanage and didn't use it for positive PR, didn't try and put it on the internet and get a good spin from it, didn't try to get likes. I was just trying to help people. The fact that the only charitable act I've ever advertised was their Instagram post. So I find it very hypocritical when these hate mobs come and say I'm a bad person, when I'm the one who's out here spending his money and time trying to help the world, and all they're doing is telling their followers to insult me on my Instagram page. Which one of those two things has a genuinely positive effect on humanity? I'm genuinely not the bad person here. However, I will state again, I do take absolute responsibility because that's who I am as a man. I'm a personal responsibility type of person. And I understand that regardless of the fact I believe it's unfair, I do have a cross to bear because of my monumental success.
I've lived an
Yeah, man, like I alluded to it before, but that's just immense respect for somebody who just moves in the shadows, congruent with their outward facing persona. I've got nothing but respect for him now.
extreme life, more extreme than most. I've been a multimillionaire. I've been a nobody. I've been famous. I've been a world level athlete. I've started from nothing with a point where I had to run to the gym because I didn't even have a car to get there. I've done it all. So I've lived a very extreme life, and this is where these lessons come from.
To quickly address the rumors that I'm a sex trafficker and that's why I live in Romania. Firstly, that's a very, very racist attitude to have.
Just take note for this, because when I first heard this, like, what are you going to be talking about here? Because you've alluded to your ethnicity, something that you haven't done before. So what are you talking about here? It's a very, very high level counter that he's throwing here. So just pay attention. If your ears perked up on that one, it's I understand, but at the same time, just hear him out. Just hear him out.
I find it strange that the left and people who speak and talk about tolerance and inclusivity will assume that Romania as a country will allow me to be a rapist, or that Romania is the kind of place where rape is okay. That's an extremely racist mentality to have. Imagine someone saying that the other way around.
See, that's just such a brilliant counter right there. Oh, well, you as an individual, you're a bad person. Oh, okay, cool. If all of those charges were legitimately out there, why would the great people of Romania, accept what I'm doing? Okay, why would they harbor this individual? Why would they give them a place to live and stay? Interesting. It's almost like these virtue signalers that are on the left actually don't care about anybody who's in opposition to their ideology. It's almost like they have this warped perception. I can't remember how the split works, but when it comes to a psychology or a psychological perspective, people who are perceived to be more conservative are harder on groups as opposed to individuals. They appreciate individuals because they believe that they can work with individuals. I think that's the way that it shakes out. As opposed to the people that are on the left, they're very kind, okay? I think it's the liberals and conservatives, the way that it works out. Anyway, still, they're very, very kind. They're kind to a group. When it comes to an individual, they're like, ew, just get out of the way. We just want to treat everybody with generalities instead of dealing with an individual person. Yeah, you're just icky. That's gross. We'll help the group. Yeah, we care about all you guys, but yeah, no, just get away from me, you pleb. That's it's so obvious, and it's such a great point. I've never heard it articulated. And again, just learning things, even in something that was supposed to be an apology. What apology have you heard so far? I haven't heard the word apology or sorry, mostly because he takes responsibility for everything that he does and everything that has been done in response to what he's saying. It's a masterclass. I've got nothing but big ups, big respect.
This country, because it's run by these people, they're inherently bad. That's very unfair on Romania. Romania's been very good to me. It's a great country filled with fantastic people, amazing nature, great food. It's a great place. I live here because I love it. There's no other reason why I live here. They're a European Union nation. They have a strong legal system, just like every other country. And to sit here and say that, oh, Romania is where you can rape people, that's very racist. And I don't understand why nobody is pointing out the fact that anyone who's saying that and believes that is purporting racial stereotypes. That's the first thing. The second thing is, my house was raided by police under accusations that a woman was being held kidnapped.
Hassan, take note.
I have spoke about this at length many, many times. I was effectively swatted. I think this happens to all famous people on the internet, where the police is called, happens especially in America. They call the police and say, somebody has got a gun at this address and he's threatening to kill somebody. And the SWAT turn up and it turns out it's fake. It happened to Tim Pool repeatedly. It happened to Aiden Ross just the other day. Being swatted is unfortunately one of the things that happens when you're famous on the internet.
Whatever troll did it, you did it. You officially did it.
Well, we got swatted yesterday. It's so upsetting.
Just right after my mom arrived.
Do you think, okay, if given the opportunity, if Ethan Klein ever needed to make a video like this, would he use this footage that we're about to see from Andrew Tate as evidence that, swatting's a bad thing? No, of course not. See, that amount of pleasantry, that good faith that extends on one side, it gets smacked out of the hand by the other.
I was swatted. Someone made a call about me which was fake. The police responded, as they should. I would hate to live in a country where the police get a call that a woman's being held kidnapped and they don't bother going to look. That's not what a country should do. Absolutely, the Romanian authorities were exceptionally professional. I have nothing but positive things to say about them. They turned up professionally, turned up and investigated as they should. And they found out that it was completely false, that nobody was kidnapped, nobody was held against their will. I was not charged. I was not released on bail. I have no criminal charges in Romania, England, America, any country on the planet. I have no accusations against me for hurting women. And people are still on the internet saying, he's a human trafficker, the Romanian police are trying to get him in trouble for human trafficking. That's not true. That's not what happened. And I've said this many times, but people continue to ignore it and continue to purport the lie, because that's how the internet works, right? They continue to just keep pushing the lie because it gets more clicks, or because they personally don't like me and they want to use it as an excuse to pretend I'm a bad person. I can sit here and be vain and arrogant and say they're jealous of me and my success and they want to find a way to drag me down, but that's beside the point. The actual point is, it's not true. And I was swatted just like anyone else was. And if I had actually hurt anybody, the Romanian police would have me in jail, because they are a nation, a European Union nation, with a strong legal system, and they would lock me up. They have not done that, because I am completely and utterly innocent. They investigated as they should and came to the correct conclusion that there's nobody here and this was a false call, a false alarm. It happens to lots of famous people. Happens all the time. The person who made the call about me threw in, instead of saying, I kind of think, if I analyze it, the people who make these police calls, right? The people who do the swatting, it's kind of country specific. In America, they make a call to the police and they say, he has a gun, he has hostages. They can't really say that in Romania because it's very, very unlikely. It's not likely to be taken seriously. So instead, they try and find something the police might believe. Oh, he's an American guy and he has this big house and he has a bunch of women trapped. It's a different story, but it's the same intention, for the police to turn up with guns. And thankfully, thank God, nobody was shot, nobody was hurt. They were very professional, very calm, as was I. Very calm conversations, very kind. Everything was sorted out very quickly. I was taken from my house. They came into my house at 5 p.m. They did a forensic search, as they should. At 8 p.m., the search concluded. They took me from my house at 8 p.m. for paperwork at the police station, and by 9:21, I was back home. And
yeah, I think that video was that came out in April. I think I do believe that's when that's when I seen everything come down like this. Okay, so yeah, he's addressed this multiple times on a whole host of podcasts, but yet the lie persists. I was going to break in a little bit earlier, but I just wanted to let him talk. And oh, man, it's one of those things where now it's just willful ignorance because, well, actually, on the same time, okay, because again, mass media that's out there, all you need to do is just type in Andrew Tate sex trafficking charges. All you're going to do is just get a bunch of people saying, oh, he's under investigation for sex trafficking. Yeah, this happened how long ago? No charges were filed, no charges were placed. And in fact, the story behind all of this stuff, which he doesn't get into, which he has in the past, okay, during, well, actually all of the stuff, the most specific addressing of these allegations was on an emergency meeting, which was on the Tate Speech channel, which obviously everybody knows has been taken down right now. But it was a girl who ended up getting caught because she was posting Instagram stories at the place where she was allegedly being held against her will. She was posting one, and then her boyfriend found out that she was at that place, and then instead of just copping to the fact that she was fucking Tristan, ended up saying that, no, I'm being held against my will, and the only reason that this high-end raid ended up happening is because Interpol, the European equivalent to the FBI, ended up getting involved in this, and that's how everything got so far afield, okay, and that's why these rumors continue to persist. Oh man, it's laborious to continue to debunk these claims, and I could imagine that it's even 20, 30, 50,000 times worse for Andrew Tate, all things considered, because he didn't even get the pussy at the end of the day. It's wild.
that was the end of it. Nothing's happened since. No woman's come forward. Nobody's hurt. Nothing. So that's completely false. But again, this is taken, it's put in all the news, it's put in all the media. Imagine I was a normal person with a normal job. This should be scary to anybody watching this, that this could happen to you. I'm lucky. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't need a job. I don't need people to like me. I don't need social media. I don't need any of this. I can have my beautiful family, I can have my children, and I can be left alone. But if you're a normal person, you lose your job, you lose your income, you can't walk the street, you can't afford security, you can't afford to move. If this happened to a normal person, their life would be over.
How many people live in fear of the HR department? I'm just saying.
It's scary. Okay, it's happened to me and I can deal with it, but it could happen to somebody else. And it's genuinely a scary thought. It's absolutely and utterly not true. I have no criminal charges. There's no charges at all against me. I have not hurt any women. No women are coming forward saying, Andrew hit me. Zero. The only video of me and a woman in consensual acts, she came forward and said it was a game. There's nothing on the internet from any woman saying that Andrew is a bad person and misogynist, he did this to me. Not one. It's just misunderstood clips on TikTok. It's crazy to me that I have become the face of evil with misunderstood, out of context clips on TikTok with no criminal charges. There are very famous people who have much more. They have genuine criminal charges. There's very famous people who have genuine accusations. They're still on Instagram. I have none of these things. None. I understand that social media companies feel responsible for the national consciousness and the national opinions and actions because of their large levels of influence. However, I don't think it's fair that I'm being vilified and blamed for something that isn't true or wasn't even me. I need to seriously analyze if it's possible for me to even have a social media presence for any longer without it being weaponized and used against me. I would like to think that Instagram have their finger on the pulse of the world, and that they're reactive and adaptive regarding how people view certain issues and people. I'd like to think that they're very fair and unbiased, and that they understand that in time, when the truth is shown about my positivity and my positive impact on the world, the Tate Foundation, all the amazing things we're going to be doing for men and women, that over time they'll understand that there's no reason for me to not be on a platform. I understand that if I'm going to continue on social media, I need to be a lot more careful with my content. Not because I'm saying bad things, but because I'm saying things that could be used against me.
No, that's incredibly high-level interpretation of the events. Listen, how many people do you know who would take responsibility for things that aren't even within their control, okay? Run down the balance sheet of what's on there. It's like, okay, I've got a good message that needs to be out there. But then at the same time, okay, just thinking about the pros and cons of being on social media, I have a good message that's out there, okay? I'm very articulate. The people who respond well to my content are numerous and they're vocal, and I'm really changing some lives out there. So what are the detriments that are out there? Could be taken out of context. You know, the people, the society at large just are waiting, are praying that I slip up. And even still, even if they can just piece a couple of things together, they can make me look like a monster and a criminal. And I have all of these people who are under my control, okay, or who are at least within my sphere of influence, okay? He's got his brother, he's got, you know, whatever else that's out there, okay? All of those people get taken down in this dragnet of just motivated assassins, really, social media assassins that are out there. Is it possible? Okay, what are the other things that I need to do to accomplish these things if he decides that the pros outweigh the cons on this? So that's what he's walking through. This is such a good example of how a masculine man should just go through the adversity that he faces. Okay, I need to tighten up my messaging. I need to be more choosy on my platforms. That's what he does, and it's an example that's out there. And again, I just harken back to the other people that we looked at 2 hours ago in this video. I can't believe that this video is this long, but we're here, and I'm totally fine with that because it's a message that I wholeheartedly believe in, and it's some air that needs to be given to a message and a person who has been unjustly vilified by society at large. And hey man, if there's going to be 100,000 different people out there just waiting for out of context clips of Andrew Tate, I don't think anybody's going to be bigger and tougher than me who's at least sticking up for him. So hey man, you know, somebody's got to stand up for the top G.
I want to dedicate this YouTube channel, any other remaining social medias I have, my email list, and my Instagram at some point in the future, to the Tate Foundation and speak purely about the positivity I'm doing for the world, because in the meantime, and at least for the next few months or years, it's going to be very difficult to talk bad about me when people only see the money I'm donating and how I'm helping people. And I don't just give money in a very lazy, charitable way. I get in my car, I go on the ground, I help people myself.
I drove my Rolls Royce to Ukraine. I bought hundreds of coats and shoes for women and children fleeing the conflict.
Yeah, but I put a Ukraine flag in my bio, and that's basically the exact same thing. Like, seriously, just take a look at the difference. Somebody who's doing something good. Did he ever put these videos out there? No, yeah, exactly.
I didn't film the refugees. I hate when people do that.
So we'll be documenting that. I think that's a good way for people to start to learn about the truth. I'm really relieved this happened. I feel good. I feel happy. I don't think I could have got everybody's attention without this. I don't think I would have had a chance to make a clean break and a clean start and explain the truth of my character and my heart without this. I think that if I was never banned, I would have keep trying to tell the truth, and my haters would have kept ignoring it and kept making negative videos about me, and it would have spiraled out of control until someone in my family was hurt or an attempt was made on my life. Any of my serious fans who have watched all my content know that I've had attempts on my life before, way before YouTube, 10 or 15 years ago. It's something I intimately understand, life and death.
He had his finger removed and then reattached. So yeah, no, this is the OG here for the top G. Weird.
And it's not something I wish to revisit. I feel the hate around me was being accelerated to a point of danger for myself and my loved ones. So I'm very glad this happened, because I feel like I now have a chance to tell the truth. And I also feel like the social media companies are very understanding of their responsibilities and will always reflect national consciousness. And as people understand the truth about me and my heart, their opinions about me will change also. You know, the Bible is full of redemption stories. So are superhero movies, right? The guy starts off bad and then turns good. Or the guy that you think is a bad guy turns out to be a good guy with good intentions all along. He was just misunderstood. I feel like the human psyche is very intrinsically understanding of these narratives and stories. I think people understand a redemption arc. They can understand when they retrospectively look back on certain events or actions or words, and with their new understanding of his actual intentions, everything looks different. They look back and go, oh, now I know who he truly is. I understand what he meant by that. Now I know who he truly is. I understand why that was said. And everything changes. I truly believe that this is a chance for me to move my social media purely to my charitable acts. Even if my Instagram is reinstated, it's only going to be about the Tate Foundation. There'll be no pictures of Bugattis anymore. Sorry, gentlemen.
There's enough of those out there already.
And it allows me to conduct my philanthropy in the physical world as opposed to so much in the digital world trying to inspire men. It's an avenue change. It's a life path change that God has chosen for me. And I'm happy with that. I really am not the type of person to take these things personally. I don't take any of these decisions personally. I'm a very logical man. I'm very good at seeing both sides of the argument. I understand the situation I'm in intimately. I completely understand all points of view. And this redemption arc, this chance to tell the world the truth about me and focus on showing the good that I have already been doing before these bans, when I didn't want likes, when I didn't want clicks, and also undoing all the negative narratives which I've allowed to spiral out of control because I trusted in people to do their own research and come to their own truthful conclusions. I realize now that this is a fantastic chance for me.
You know what this reminds me of specifically? Donald Trump, 2020. Okay, you remember when everything that went down there, no need to get into specifics, you already know, I had it on my channel until it was forcefully removed by the good truth tellers over there at YouTube, right? Okay, I think it's still up on Rumble in whatever form or fashion that was. But no, Trump was vilified for everything that happened, and then January 6th just compounded that, right? Yep, and everything looked dark. But now, take a look at polls, you take a look at all of the different endorsements that are breaking Trump's way, and yeah, man, it was, I believe Robert Barnes, that was the first person that I heard talk about this. He said that, yep, we're going to be going through a nice little spell right now. If you're familiar with the way that modern movies and movies at large are wrote, they're in a 3-act structure. Okay, Act 1 is normally your inciting action, okay, your success at the beginning, and then Act 3, obviously, in the hero's journey, which plays out everything. That is obviously coming in and accomplishing the film, okay, accomplishing the story, achieving the success at the end. But Act 2, Part 2 of this story, is the low point. You just take a look at any sort of a story that's told in a trilogy format. You take a look at Star Wars, which is funny because that was another thing that made Andrew Tate very popular way back in the day by saying that he's never seen Star Wars. In my opinion, he's not really missing out on all that much. And yeah, I'm referring to the original films, but even still, okay, the original Star Wars, even though it wasn't intended to be a trilogy, I know about that, okay, just calm your shit, okay, that was, a self-encapsulated story, but it really set everything up, okay, just like Andrew Tate taking off, okay, having a message that's out there. And then Empire Strikes Back, okay, when it comes to Star Wars, everything's horrible. Han gets put into a carbonite, in his tomb and everything looks lost. And then you got Andrew Tate and Donald Trump at that point, okay, 2020, all that stuff, January 6th, blah, blah, blah. And then Andrew Tate getting yeeted off all the platforms. Now, you have a you have a moment, okay? You could have your Return of the Jedi moment where Luke comes back, he's in the black cape and whatever, and he's even stronger than he was before. And you can see the analogy with 2024 when it comes to Trump and all that stuff. So Andrew Tate is kind of following along that trajectory, whether it was intended to be that, or if it's just kind of working out like that, or maybe it's just because basic bitch storytelling in movies have been like that for so long that that parallel is just so easy to draw, okay? Correlation does not equal causation, but, you know, hey man, enough correlation, where there's smoke, there's fire, sometimes, but that's just what I see. Maybe I could be wrong, don't know.
It's a massive opportunity. I'm still going to tell the truth about who I am, about what I believe, about how I believe a man should act. I'm still going to tell people and inspire people to stay away from low quality people.
If you're struggling to find quality men to be friends with, maybe you're not a quality man. Every relationship in the world, including friendships, are mutual. Because if you're a quality person, you meet quality people, male and female. That's how it goes.
I never would only talk negatively about women. I talked negatively about men all the time. I told people, don't have friends who just smoke drugs and play video games. You need friends who are going to inspire you to push yourself to be the best man you can. I'm a massive anti-drug advocate. The worst experiences in my life revolved around other people either taking or selling drugs and trying to hurt me because of it. I've never taken drugs in my life. I've never even tried cocaine, never tried a single smoke of weed in my life ever.
That's what's so amazing about finding, people who have, carried on the message that I originally heard from Patrice O'Neill going forward. All of these people are very much, okay, don't be doing anything that sedates you. Rolo, you just seen him there in the moment, okay? He was the one that I heard coin the term, get off the things that are sedating you, whether that's food, drugs, alcohol, low quality people, like Andrew Tate pointed out as well. Get rid of those people from your life, because there's that old saying, you are the summation of the 5 people in your closest circle. So if you hang out with 5 different millionaires out there, chances are if you just, follow what they're doing, you're going to be that 6th millionaire. That's the message that these type of people, the manosphere, the red pill type people that are out there, that's what they're telling you. They're not telling you to go out there and bang everything on 2 legs, okay? That's not the message. That's just the clipped version. That's the TikTok version of what people think the manosphere and the red pill is all about. It's so much deeper than that. It's all about self-improvement. But again, that's not as sexy as saying that women should just be in the kitchen. All they need to do is cook and clean. If I was looking for a woman to just cook and clean for me, I would hire a fucking maid. So, man, if you have these misconceptions, do a little bit of fucking research before you start spouting off at the mouth. That's what led up to Andrew Tate getting canceled. A bunch of people who are willfully or disingenuously misinformed.
I'm massively anti-drugs. But when I do videos saying to men, avoid men who take drugs, avoid men who are disloyal, nobody comments on it. But if I say avoid having a girlfriend who takes drugs, avoid having a girlfriend who's disloyal, people call me a misogynist. It's not about gender. I'm just trying to teach people to stay away from low-quality, toxic people and just try and elevate themselves and create their reality to be around high-quality people. And
I'll even throw it down a little bit more. Okay, those might not just be your friends. They can also be your family members. If your family members are the ones that are pulling you down as well, guess what? That old saying, blood is thicker than water. And guess what? Sometimes blood ain't shit when it comes to that kind of stuff. Get rid of toxic people, regardless of their affiliation.
Positive people, male or female. There's no gender associated. It's only the fact that the media, these people chopping my videos up, whoever they are, taking it out of context and only focusing on the times women were mentioned, which is a very small percentage, 2 or 3% of my overall content, and ignoring all the time I said the exact same thing about men or the times I loved women, and purporting this view. And I feel like this ban is the hard reset I needed to tell the truth. So for that, I'm thankful. I'm very, very thankful for that. What's next for Top G? Well, as I've said, I have built my dream life. I have everything I've ever wanted. I've done that with the tenets that I've been teaching the people who follow me. I've been teaching you the mental fortitude you need to truly have your dream life. I was talking to Aiden Ross on his stream, and he said, have you completed the game? And I guess in a way I have.
And do you feel like you've beaten the game?
No, I've hacked the Matrix and completely beaten the games. I have everything I've ever wanted.
I don't.
See, that's what most people think when they see Andrew Tate talking. It's like, oh, he's so braggadocious. Oh, the way that he talks with, oh, such anger and authority. He's saying the exact same stuff here in this video as he does in that little snippet out there. Do you think you've accomplished anything? Yes, I have. Everything that I have ever wanted to accomplish, I have accomplished with ferocity. And it's like, come on now. He's obviously being hyperbolic. Like he said before, he's got to be entertaining when he's on these streams, on these shows. And that's just taking his personality, like a good professional wrestler, which is not too dissimilar to what people put as their online persona. You just take what you're naturally good at and just crank that shit up to 11. That's what he did there. And what's changed about the message? It's the exact same shit. You just like it now because he's talking very calm and measured. Like, get out of your feelings for a second. You can learn something.
Need anything else. All that's left for me to do is have a positive impact on the world. I don't think anybody truly wants to go down as a villain. Maybe some people do. I don't. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to stick up for myself, to be strong, to be commanding, but I was raised to do the right thing. And that's why, as I stated, I have no criminal record. I stay away from drugs. There's a lot of people on social medias with large criminal records who advocate drug use. I think that's far more dangerous for society than me.
How many YouTube content creators have a unofficial affiliation with a CBD oil brand or something like that? Or even just the people who are like, oh my God, do you believe what Russia did to Brittany Griner or something like that? The WNBA chick who's locked up in Russia. Oh, they should be gone with that because weed is... What the hell did I just do? But anyways, oh no, weed is legal in the United States, and I just kicked everything back. I'll just go ahead and find where we're at, but I can just continue to say what I was saying. But no, obviously, it's one of those things.
What's next for Top G?
Oh, good. Not that far out. Anyways, no, but weed is fine. Weed is fine. It just helps you think. It helps you focus. It just makes me far more artistic. That's out there. And it's like, no. It's a sedative. Let's be completely honest. Some of the people, it's a pain reliever. Okay, that's fine. Those are for your cancer patients. Those are for people at the end of their life. They need some sort of relief from the agonizing pain that they're in. And that's fine. But you, at 20-something years old, you need it because your knees hurt? No. Your knees hurt because you're 300 pounds and you're not fucking exercising, at a consistent rate. You're just lying to yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice by just giving in to your basal needs, by not continuing to pursue any sort of accomplishment that's out there. You're just lying to yourself. And there we are. It's Andrew Tate telling you that, get off your sedations and you can accomplish amazing things. Is that a dangerous message that's out there? It's fucking wild, dude. This guy gets canceled. But you're going to have a whole bunch of pot smokers that are out there. Oh, Joe Rogan smokes pot. Joe Rogan's a fucking exception. Elon Musk smoked pot on the Joe Rogan Experience. Yeah, and then he ended up getting his entire company drug tested. If that's something you want to do, go ahead. But I'm going to guarantee you're not in the same situation Joe Rogan is in, okay? You're not going to be in the same situation Elon Musk is in, God willing.
Don't need anything else. All that's left for me to do is have a positive impact on the world. I don't think anybody truly wants to go down as a villain. Maybe some people do. I don't. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to stick up for myself, to be strong, to be commanding, but I was raised to do the right thing. And that's why, as I stated, I have no criminal record. I stay away from drugs. There's a lot of people on social medias with large criminal records who advocate drug use. I think that's far more dangerous for society than me. And once again, they have absolute exposure to the world. I want to run the Tate Foundation, and I would love to do it without any social media. I will be detailing on my email list all of my charitable donations, all of the orphanages I'll be building, pictures, financial evidence, receipts. Please go to cobratate.com and sign up to the newsletter. It's free. and I'll be letting people know the positive impact I'm going to be having on the world.
Full disclosure, yeah, I definitely did. So you feel free to live your life however you want to, just saying.
The fame I've amassed has also managed to help me amass hundreds of millions of dollars. And I don't need all of it. So I'm going to use it for positive causes. In regards to social media, I need to sit and think and work out a way that not a single snippet of my words can ever be used against me. And even though I consider myself a wordsmith, that is a very, very difficult objective to complete.
Just a little bit on the philanthropy. I just want to take a look at, the other people who are, vociferous detractors of Andrew Tate and his message. Just, hey, it's very easy to just say, like, Hassan, it's like, okay, how many people does he help with what he does? Well, he has a large following. Like yesterday or Monday, just about 45,000 people were watching. He has how many people does he employ again? How many people does he enrich their life of? Well, he has an editor, and there's another famous clip that's made the rounds out there. Instead of paying his editor, he bought him a computer, and the people who he steals their content of, who does very little transformative effort, okay? Like, I know I've let this video run a whole bunch of time, okay? There's long periods of time where I'm not saying anything, but, Hassan, I stream for 8 hours a day. Yeah, that's nice. You also get up and leave. You're not even in the frame for some of the videos that are out there. But instead of, paying those people, or even just saying what video you're using as content for yourself to enrich yourself, you just bought a $5-point-some-odd million house in SoCal. Congratulations, you avowed communist. No, it's wild. He says he pays these people an exposure. I don't know if he does any charitable contributions, but if he's anything like his Lord and Savior Bernie Sanders, pays absolutely zero towards charities, that's nice, and then also works all the tax loopholes at the same time. Completely feel free to do that within a capitalistic society, but then at the same time, when you deride that on a daily message, you're not helping the world. You're living one way and espousing another, knowing that even if the things that you talk about end up getting ultimately enacted, no skin off your ass, okay? And Ethan Klein at the same time, we can do the entire charitable contribution. I don't know anything about his charitable contributions, but outside of building an additional chin to go on his neck, I don't know if he ever did anything when it comes to orphanages, but I know he employs a couple of people. He's got some people that are equally as funny as him that work in the background, and also his wife there as well, which, hey man, that's one good sign of a healthy relationship, but there's many other red flags that are there, as opposed to Andrew Tate, who, actually brought supplies to the Ukrainian border for refugees, women and children that are fleeing the war zone, and then also, building an orphanage, setting up a place for stray dogs in Romania as well. I think he mentioned that. I know about that one as well, but somebody who does actual good, didn't have to talk about it beforehand, but now people are calling into question his character. Now he's providing receipts, and is anybody going to be talking about that? No. He's a misogynist. He's a bad guy. He's a fake alpha. Get fucked.
And I'm going to think about how I could possibly do that. So while I'm thinking, any remaining social media channels will be dedicated towards charity. If I start a new Instagram, it's only going to be dedicated towards the charitable side of the Tate Foundation. I hold no ill will against any social media platforms. I hold no ill will against any of the people who hate me or who have tried to spread lies about me. I truly pray for you all. I think that to be a person filled with so much hate that you think making videos insulting a man and encouraging your viewers to go and insult him and his deceased father and his family members, I think that is a horrible way to live. I would never want to experience that level of hate in my heart. The people who are making endless videos celebrating my ban or talking hate about me, that hate is never going to satisfy you.
Because there's always going to be a new person to hate, okay? And then the equivalent, I think it's a Nelson Mandela quote, okay? Hatred for another individual is akin to drinking poison and hoping that it injures the other person. It doesn't do anything except for ultimately harm you. I've got another channel completely dedicated to health and wellness. I know not a lot of people are interested, and I'll just make a note of this, but I got a couple of videos that are on there when it comes to the detrimental effects of stress on your body. Hatred is a form of stress because that person, okay, that idea lives rent-free in your head. And outside of the times that I talk about how stupid Joe Biden is, or the AOC complaining about having a big juicy booty, whatever the hell is out there for the moment, I don't hate these people. I might get hyperbolic when it comes to my online persona, but at the end of the day, that just goes out of my head, and then I just go and live a fulfilled, fruitful life at the end of the day. I wake up every morning, I go for a run, I lift some weights, and I am happy with who I am, and then I'm incredibly happy to have the platform to be able to have these bright lights in this little hot room, which I'm glad that you can't see anything below the waist because, oh boys, it's swampy and exposed right now. Just saying. But man, hey man, I don't hate anybody. I don't even care. You know what? I stopped looking at comments because most of them were just low IQ. Actually, sorry, need to retract that. Okay, not most of them are low IQ. There are a substantial portion, the people who feel so enraged to immediately come over, dislike the video, and then just leave some sort of ad hominem attack. It doesn't help anybody. Hey man, if you got the notifications turned on for a channel that you aren't too terribly fond of, your life sucks. I'm feeling great. I got a family that loves me. I got people that really respect my opinions on things. The sub count, what, 1,250 some odd people appreciate what I have to say. I couldn't be happier with my position in life, okay? And I see that there are some people that are out there that just continuously churn out hatred out there. Those are the sad people, man. Like, those are the hateful people, and those are the people that are just going to continue to subsist on hate until they die early, because that's ultimately what happens to them. I'd say it's sad, but it's a rod made for their own back.
You need to learn to let go and live with a heart filled with love. You need to be content with yourself, because if you're obsessed with trying to hate on another person, the poison's inside of you. It's not inside of me. It doesn't affect me as much as it affects you. You can't feel hatred for somebody without it affecting your mood. So this is something for you guys to address, and I genuinely pray for you. I have no ill will against any of my haters. I have no ill will against any social media companies. I have no ill will against anybody. To follow me and keep up with me, please sign up to the newsletter on CobraTate.com. Anybody who would like to send me a message of support, I've already had hundreds of thousands already. Thank you guys so much. It's very reassuring to me in times like this to hear from all of you, letting me know that I saved you from depression, that I helped you feel better about yourselves. I'm the reason your marriage is working. I inspired you to send your son to the gym. I love hearing these things. And you can send me an email at the email address below, tate@cobratate.com. Please send it to me. I really love hearing these things. And knowing I had such a positive impact on the world is what's allowed me to ignore so much of this hate storm that's been purported. My social media presence is something that, if it remains, will be curated in a way that it's nearly impossible to be seen as a negative for the world. I'm a force for positivity and I'm a force for truth. This is the truth of my nature and the truth of my name.
Some would call him a positively inspirational and motivating person.
Anybody who wants comment or to reach out to me, you can find ways to do that. Any media organizations who would like to speak to me, you can do that through, there's various PR companies who want to represent me. There'll be ways of contacting me. But I just want the world to know, in my final statement, that if you're a supporter of mine, and I know most of you are, please explain the truth in a respectful manner. Telling these hate-filled people that they're wrong and calling them names won't help. These people are not happy people, because happy people don't act that way. Tell them the truth. Show them that the content is out of context. Show them the long format content. Say all the ways I've helped you. And I really believe by being a genuinely professional, logical, positive person, you guys can change public consciousness for me. And time is a beautiful thing. It's amazing how things change with time. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my fantastic life, which I've managed to build with all of the tenacity and mental strength that I try and teach my fans. You know how to reach me. And I'll finish with a quote from my late father.
The most boss quote ever.
My unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability, makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor.
Are you trying to keep up being like as viral as you are forever?
I could continue to let the rest of this play out, but it's just, hey man, we can just go to the final frame here. He's just saying, yeah, I'll just, yeah. Are you ready for stage 2? The way that breaks down, and I know that they were hitting people for copyright when it came to that Nelk Boys Full Send podcast. So he was just saying, are you going to be ready for the dip in popularity? Have you already reached the peak and whatever? And he said that no, it's all planned out. It's going to come in stages. So like he says there, like you can see just right above my head right there, are you ready for stage 2? Yeah, man, I'm down with the message. Okay, I'm probably not going to reach out in any form or fashion. I think that this will act as reaching out and my full-throated support when it comes to this stuff, because I think the message is important. I've said that 100 different times throughout this nearly 3-hour-long video, and nobody's gonna watch the entirety of this. The hell, I'll just probably have it on my proofread, and there's the reason I'm not gonna be processing this, and it's just gonna come out as raw as I just wrote it. So it's not gonna have the nice little title card at the end. I don't have that quite set up in my OBS studio, but man, it's the best not apology video that I've ever seen. Okay, it addressed everything succinctly, and obviously Tate's probably going to take, a couple of weeks off before he makes any sort of an appearance going forward, and I'm waiting with bated breath because he didn't deserve this, but then at the same time he's taking responsibility and he's knowing that he's going to have to come back better, and Lord have mercy if he has the opportunity to come back, what sort of a message and what sort of an orator he's going to become off the back of this. Stay the fuck out of this dude's way. And hey man, I don't think the red pill's ever going to become mainstream, but he's about as close as we're ever going to get when it comes to this stuff. So with all of that said, and thank you very, very much for hanging out for what's just about, I'm not going to quite make 2 hours, 50 minutes. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. I could continue just nattering in order to reach that level, but I have respect somewhat for my audience. Hopefully you appreciate the breakdown. If not, you can go watch one of the many other mirrors that are on YouTube, or just go to the link in the description below, freetopg.com. I think that's what it is, just verbatim. But if you want to watch that in its totality, I think I did a pretty good job of adding additional context on top of that. And then also what I'm seeing in the zeitgeist, the popular zeitgeist at large. So with all of that said, and you know what, I'm just going to, for shits and giggles, stretch this out for as long as possible because I find it funny. Nobody's watching this shit all the way through to the end, at least in one goddamn sitting, because by the time that it gets put out on the East Coast, this motherfucker's going to be going up at 10 o'clock at night. It's just about 3 hours long, so nobody's going to be able to finish this today, but it's still going to be fucking out, okay? I'm going to put this up while I'm recording other things because, yes, I had an anticipation of recording multiple videos today, but I'll still get it done because I'm addicted to this shit, because I want to put the truth out there, just like Andrew Tate was doing. And hey man, if I get canceled, if I get booted off all of these platforms, there's still a couple of platforms that are going to keep me on there, but hey man, I'm hoping that one day I'll have the reach in some form or fashion, okay, that Andrew Tate does, that I can continue to put out my variation on the message and just continue like I initially wanted to do with this channel. Just put the truth out there with a couple of jokes intermittently interspersed. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I should follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.